Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, do you know what day it is?
I don't.
It is Saturday morning, coming fresh off the presses of a steamy Friday evening, actually Friday afternoon into the evening, of getting non-stop Halo first-person shooter action in, really getting it in. Live, raw, and uncut in the big team battlefield. Hey, man, I don't know. First, before I introduce the show, look, if you don't know this is LSS, then I don't know where you're at right now. But before I tell you where you're at, I have to let you know that if you're a Halo fan, I don't know how 343 did it, but somehow they made big team battle feel bigger. Feel like Battlefield, but feel like Halo. It feels like a good mixture of the two, and it's something we definitely should talk about at some point, probably more towards the middle of the show, because we gotta come in hot. But with that being said, you are here with the Living SplitScreen Morning Show with your guy, Steel Rain, and the brother from another, the uncanny gentleman himself, the podcast extraordinaire, my guy Pong Steel. What's going on, man?
Wow, brother. It is Saturday morning, as you just reminded me, because I didn't know what day it was. Because, man, this has been one crazy week. Gamers. Look, we have been preaching about a lot of different things on this show. We have been giving you people the good word of what's going on in these streets. And if you haven't been listening to Living SplitScreen, if you haven't told other people to listen to Living SplitScreen, guess what? You've been missing out, right?
Yeah.
Because this is the golden age of gaming, nonstop games. And this week was no different. We had so much going on between acquisitions, between Tokyo Game Show, between Big Team Battle dropping, between Game Pass once again delivering, again, depending on what you like, but delivering a boatload of content. This week has been just special and in a lot of ways. Maybe not the biggest week ever, but guess what? This is the golden age of gaming. Steel Rain, my brother from another, and I have been preaching about this each and every week. We are now on episode 27. For all of you who have been here with us from the beginning, you know what we're talking about. So guess what? It is Saturday morning. We got a lot to get into. Steel and I are already fired up. Steel's got a ton of stuff going on in real life. I got stuff going on in real life. But guess what? We still here. And we're here to talk to all of you about all of this stuff. Now, we don't know how much we're going to get through. We actually don't know where the show's going to go. We talk about this every week. This show is live, raw, uncut, organic, all of it, and it's for real, because Steel and I have no idea where the show is going to go. We don't have a roadmap. We're just out here sailing the high seas of the gaming industry. So guess what? Get ready, buckle up, because we got a lot to talk about this week. But it's amazing to see all of you out there, and I hope you all had a great week as well. And now we are in the weekend, and man, if you ain't playing games, I don't know what you're doing. Because, man, this is the best time to be alive. So, Steel, you know what? Are we going to talk about what we've played this week, or because we are going into big team battle later, do you want to hold off on that? What do you want to do?
Since we're really going hanging off the cuff today, we can start off with Halo. We're gonna run right back into Halo, right on the back end of the show. Yeah. I don't know if you're gonna end up being busy, whatever the case might be, but if you got time, man, we're going to be right back into Halo, man. So we can definitely start off with that. I do want to let the people know, look, if it's your first time here, hit that like button. If it's not your first time here, tell your buddy about it, tell your mama about it, go in the next room, tell your kids about it, to get in here and get this energy shot to get your weekend started with the Living SplitScreen, guys, because again, where can you get this authenticity other than right here on LSS? I don't know yet, man. I just don't see it. But with that being said,
now I'm Omar. We are going to free ball it. You are correct.
Oh, you got it in right. No draws, just sticky, a little sweaty. AC unit acting a little iffy. It's all right though. On. We got. Hey, he said he got the powder on. I like it. I like it. I forgot to put my powder on, so I guess I'll be just be
you
me.
Be the sticky one. You be the sticky one. That's fine.
But no, look, I got some Halo gameplay going on for y'all in the background. It's in between the Arena Slayer and the big team battle. This should show a little bit of my PvP, a little bit of my talent. I'm getting used to Halo again, man. Going from Destiny to going into Halo, two different beasts, completely two different games. Can't play them the same. But I'm loving Halo so much that I haven't minded it. I wanted to make sure to get some good gameplay in. I guess I can start off with that. Yes, again, we have been getting into some Halo, man. I also had a chance to, I'm getting towards the end of Cana. I'm actually on the last boss, I believe, if I'm paying attention to what everybody else was saying. I believe I'm in the last area. So I'm trying to wrap that up. But in the process of wrapping that up, along with my busy week, I got hooked into playing Halo. And that started on Friday again, when I wanted to wrap up Cana and everything. And then not only that, but I also had some time to touch on Hot Wheels. That is actually, if you're into an arcade racer, look, I'm a racer fan, right? I love Forza to death. Forza Motorsport 2 is one of the greatest racing games that has ever existed in my lifetime. And to see how Forza has evolved over the years has been nothing but a godsend to me personally, right? So playing Hot Wheels, because we had that expansion with Horizon 3 where they kind of gave you that feel and everything, the tracks and the looks and the cars. This one takes it that next level, gives you, if actually, I like playing this more than I like playing Dirt. 100%. I like, compared to Dirt 5, this Hot Wheels makes Dirt 5 seem irrelevant to me personally. I played a little bit of Dirt 5. I played about 2 hours of Dirt 5 and I couldn't get past. I think it was more so the sprinter cars that turned me off, really. I know nobody likes them, but even the other races that I did around that, compared to the 3 to 4 races I've did in Hot Wheels, it's nothing compares. Like, the drifting feels perfect. It's like they put Need for Speed, mixed it with Hot Wheels, and said, hey, here's a game. I was
just going to say that, sir. I was just going to ask.
That's how the drifting feels.
Old school Need for Speed.
Yes, that's how the drifting feels. That's exactly how the drifting feels. The game feels perfect. Like, I am not trying to overplay this. Like, and it looks gorgeous. Like, when you think about Hot Wheels track for back, like, I don't know, everybody has their own feelings about it. Look, I wasn't the biggest fan, but of course you had your favorite cars. And I had some track sets back in the day when I could. I mean, I didn't have all the money in the world, but you know, you had what you had. This nails it out of the park, making you feel like the toy, making you feel like you're on the track, giving you the sense of speed. Man, it's perfect. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Again, I'm only about maybe 2 hours into that, but it's been a great time. Kane has been an awesome time. If anybody's telling you that it's only a 5-hour experience, I don't know what they're playing. I'm also not the guy to rush through games, but I'm also not the same one to say that I look for every nook and cranny. My wife would tell you that. She's like, oh, you missed these things over here. So just to give you that perspective, I'm playing the game on hard and I'm 22 hours in. So anybody that tells you, oh, it's just a 5-hour game, again, I don't know what they're playing or if they're just like overhyping it or just being hype beasts for the game, which I don't appreciate. And I want to come at y'all with the real and let y'all know what's really going on, because that's something I pride myself in. When somebody says, oh, it takes this amount of time to beat the game, it's just like Biomutant, right? If they said, oh, this game is only a this hour game, me and Pong started playing that game, we're like, bro, this is at least a 40-hour experience. Like, everybody plays differently, so that's something to understand. Everybody plays on different difficulties, which also has a factor. But Pong, man, just to pass it back off to you, what have you been getting into game-wise, man? What you been touching on, man?
You know me, man. I am all over the place, and that's why this week was so fantastic. Dude, look, I got so many games going right now. It boggles my mind. So,
you do.
You know, look, this week, let's see. This week in particular, let's see, what did I hop into? I played some more Hades, of course. My crack addiction is real. I still have to get down on that. But really,
Consistent. I like it.
yeah, of course. But really, my focus this week, let's see, I played some Sable because I played the demo of that. That finally dropped into Game Pass last week. And that is a fantastic chill.
I have a feeling about that game.
It is. They did not fix some of the hiccups, which I'm kind of disappointed in because the demo had some hiccups. Some people have complained about ACG's been out there vocal about it because he loves the game, but he had to stop playing because it was making him sick because there are some hiccups, some hitches in some of the graphical stuff while you're playing it. But man, this game is so chill. I absolutely love that game. That game is just the best to hop on your little desert speeder bike and ride around and discover things. It's such a good game from an indie developer. Let's see, what else did I hop into? I hopped into some Subnautica Below Zero to check that out.
Interesting. That's one of those games I've always thought about, like trying out because you're like undersea and everything, and in the sea, I should say. But I never thought about. Did you like it? Did you enjoy what you played of it?
I did. It's just like I like some survival games. I really do. And this has got a. It's got a very. I love the color palette. It pops off the screen. I love the wildlife that they've created. All the creatures are extremely unique. You know, because you've got below the water creatures, you got on land creatures, so you got a big, wide array. And I love going and exploring, and this game is definitely about exploring, but it just doesn't grab me. So I had played the original Subnautica, and I had the same experience. Like I played it, I you know, put some hours into it, and I was like, man, I just not really feeling it all the way, and maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe I just haven't gotten far enough yet.
How I felt about Red Dead.
That's just weird. That's just weird.
Personally, that's how I felt about Red Dead.
You're just strange. You're not a kid.
Hey, okay. I guess so.
Right. Listen, so I dropped back into this one trying to see if they did anything different, if it was anything new that would grab me or that would make me feel a different way, and it just didn't. You know, but again, I tried it, and that's the whole thing, and that's the beautiful part about Game Pass. I didn't spend any of my budget on it, and I got to try it out and see if it was going to be something that I was going to invest time in, and it just didn't happen for me. So you know what, but that's okay. Not every game, but we got plenty of other stuff coming out that I can play. Let's see, what else did I hop into? Let's see. Well, then, you know, Game Pass happened this week. Oh, you know what? Dandy Ace popped up. Dandy Ace came out of the blue. This is a little indie game too. Copying Hades. I don't know if they were. Yeah, I don't obviously know when they had probably started before. It's a roguelite, right? Okay. But it's got a unique concept, right? So you're this magician trapped by this other evil magician, right? So again, and we're talking about, when I say magician, I'm not talking about high fantasy sorcerer stuff here. I'm talking about like a guy who does card tricks and stuff.
Oh, right? Wow. Okay.
So unique art style. I like it a lot. After playing Hades so much, you pop into something that's not up to that level, and it's kind of hard, especially on roguelites. Yeah, so you kind of notice it really. But again, interesting concept. So you're trapped in this mirror world that he's trapped you into, blah blah blah. You got to find your way out. Same setup as Hades. You know, level by level. You can't save after each level, which again, after playing Hades is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. But again, roguelite, you're running through it, you gathering these cards, you find these magic cards, you can stack the cards so they can give you bonuses on your abilities. So really unique, again, in Game Pass. No harm, no foul. I tried it out. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I've gone back to it a couple times, so I actually do kind of like that one. Played some more Sniper Elite 4. Been plugging away on that one. It just looks so gorgeous. 4K 60 on the Series X is just ridiculous. And then I jumped back into Elix. Sorry guys.
Getting ready for the second one?
Yeah, getting ready for the second one. So I jumped back into Elix. Excellent game. Again, I find more and more that I love about it. Deeper game than it appears. Again, if you can get over the AA stuff. Look, the AA stuff, I just laugh now because I kind of come to expect it when you're playing a AA game.
I mean, you got
you know, I was in this conversation. Okay, just give you guys one quick example. I'm in a hut or kind of
He said a hut.
a house, whatever you want to call it, like, right? And I'm talking to this dude, and this dude's supposed to be sitting on his kind of throne, and I'm talking to him, and whenever it goes to him speaking, all of a sudden we're outside, and he's in the middle of a waterfall talking to me. There's a waterfall.
I love
he's
that.
taking a shower. He's taking a shower.
I love when games do that. It is so hilarious.
So just little stuff like that again, but the
funny,
game,
but not like.
yeah. The game I believe is unlocked frame rates. So on
Okay.
Series X, it is 60. It is right around. It maintains 60 pretty well. There's some hiccups here and there as well because it's obviously not optimized. But it is just a fun game, and there's a lot to it. It's a deep story. There's tons of different side missions. It's right up my alley. So I've been hopping back into that. And then Xbox decided to just blow up Game Pass. So the past couple days, man, look. Let me. Where do I want to start? Which one do I want to start with? Let's start with Marvel's Avengers, because you and I talked about that behind the scenes. I jumped in Marvel Avengers, very short period with it. I had to see what it was about. I did do the full download, 140 gigs or whatever it is. I made room, downloaded it. That is a clean looking game. That game on Series X is crispy.
It's a clean game.
It is. Again, story wise, not a big Kamala fan. Don't like her as a character. She's a B-class character.
Yeah, you're saying that
behind the scenes. I don't. It's hard to jump into a story where you don't like the character, right? So again, for all you Kamala fans, no offense whatsoever. Again, Marvel's isn't going after me. They aren't marketing to me, which I totally get. That's fine. I just don't like her as a character. I don't like. I think she's a B-rated character. I don't like her powers. Any of it, but the game itself plays pretty nice. Now, again, I'm interested in the single player game. I know a lot of people's problems were outside of the story missions.
Right.
They had to do with the multiplayer and the worthless loot and all that kind of stuff. I'm not there yet, but Marvel's Avengers in Game Pass. That was a big announcement this week. Again, Square Enix could not wait fast enough, or could not get the game into Game Pass fast enough as soon as that contract was up.
Yeah.
So that tells you something. We've talked about it here, Steel. I've talked about it on other shows before. I could not believe that they weren't dropping this into Game Pass, because this game needed Game Pass, but it needed it about 6 months ago, right?
Yeah.
It needed it about 6 months ago, and it didn't happen. Now we know there was a contract in place, so they had to wait for that to get over with. They've now plopped it into Game Pass. Maybe it'll get a second win. I think most people will probably play it just to get through the story modes. Obviously, with Game Pass, you get all the DLC outside of the cosmetic stuff. They've got a cosmetic pack that's $20. You don't get that, but you get all the story content DLC with it, which is huge. Remember when it dropped into Sony PS Now? They didn't get the upgraded version, right? So this one, you get this upgraded version, you get the series version, fantastic.
DLC and everything too, I think.
Yeah, all the DLC outside of the cosmetic pack. So the cosmetic pack's $20 if anybody's interested. But again, I think everybody's going to engage with this game now that it's in Game Pass. I think everybody's going to
more so,
the story modes, at least, because obviously Black Panther's been huge. I can't wait to get to his story and play through it. Everybody's loving it. There are some issues with that. Hopefully they get those resolved. I was on with 3-Bit the other night, and I was listening to him try to finish out the Black Panther missions, and he couldn't. He just kept glitching out every single time. So hopefully they fix some of that. So, but I think it will get a little bit of a lift here, being in Game Pass. I'm glad it's there. Excited for all the Marvel fans to get to play through it and finally see what it's all about. So I did hop into that. Like I said, looks great and plays smooth. I mean, again, there's no doubt about that whatsoever. Then let's see what else. Astria Ascending. Posted some screenshots of this. Astria Ascending, it's one that I've been on for a very long time, ever since I first saw it at one of the early Microsoft shows, I believe this year. Look, this has got some of the best Eastern talent outside of a Square Enix, and some of these boys and girls are from Square Enix. As far as old school JRPGs go, this has got some of the biggest talent that's been around making games for a very long time in the East. This is classic JRPG with hand-drawn environments. It is absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. It is a 2D turn-based RPG. Octopath Traveler.
Okay.
Except I'm talking about the turn-based style of battles. The graphics are completely different. This is hand-drawn. This is more like Dragon's Crown for anybody that remembers Dragon's Crown. Absolutely gorgeous game. Reminds me a lot of that, especially the characters. But it is absolutely a fantastic game. The music is sublime. The graphics are gorgeous, and the gameplay is just classic. So I put that in my tweet. It's my best way to describe it. If you are an old school JRPG fan, go check out Astria Ascending. You can't get much better than this. I know the reviews have been up and down. I think that more has to do with the reviewers from what I've been reading than the game itself. Some people just can't. Again, we've got a lot of younger people reviewing games these days, and some people just can't handle the classic JRPGs. Can't handle the turn-based. It's not for them. I totally get it, but I'm loving what I'm playing so far. Astria Ascending, fantastic. Hopped into Phoenix Point. Phoenix Point just dropped.
XCOM, right?
Yes, after they did the whole announcement of the 6 new games, including Scarlet Nexus at TGS, Tokyo Game Show, dropping into Game Pass on Thursday. Well, Thursday night, Friday morning was the actual release date, which we knew about for Phoenix Point. Phoenix Point, from the original creator of XCOM. XCOM fans, again, niche title. I get it. For me, absolutely perfect. My God, this has been out on PC for a year and a half now. They dropped this into consoles finally. This game is XCOM reskinned with some added extra little stuff in there as well. Okay. But if you love XCOM, if you are an XCOM fan, go check out Phoenix Point. It did not have the same resources because obviously, the original creator of XCOM, I forget his name offhand, apologize. Anybody in the chat remembers, let us know. He broke off and started his own studio. So again, it doesn't have that resource backing that Firaxis has, but at the end of the day, he still knows how to make these games. And this game is awesome. So Phoenix Point is definitely one I'm going to be lone wolfing. It is something that's just right up my alley, but loved what I saw so far. Really cool stuff in there. So go check out Phoenix Point, also in Game Pass. Again, we are so rich right now. It is crazy in terms of games. There is something for everybody out there, but man, for somebody like me, and you know what? Still, what's funny is actually I heard not yesterday's episode, but 2 weeks ago on the Xbox 2. And I'm sure he's probably said this before, but I didn't realize it. Shout out to Jez and Rand. Okay. Over on Xbox 2. Shout out to him, for sure. Yeah, for sure. A show that both Steel and I love, and one of the reasons why we do what we do here. Thanks. Jez said that Microsoft actually has an official name. We've talked about this behind the scenes, Steel, for somebody like me. For somebody who plays a ton of games, doesn't finish a lot of games, they actually have an official name.
What was the term?
We are called grazers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard that before.
We're like cows grazing, right? We are called grazers.
Yeah, you are.
So for me as a grazer, and I'm glad I have an official term now. I can call myself. I might get that tatted somewhere. As a grazer, this is a feast because I have so many different things to try. It's not even funny anymore. It is an awesome time. So. Yeah, man, that's been my week. And of course, big team battle. I had to work yesterday, so I didn't get in the early sessions, but obviously after Xbox Ultimate last night, got to jump in with you guys. We had a good time, man. We had a good time. Big team battle is right where I love big team battle. We'll get into it. Big team battle is right up my alley. So that was fun as well. So
yeah, man.
That's where I'm at, Steel.
Excellent. I mean, that sounds about right. The grazer term, that is actually not the first time that I've heard that. And that is the term that is used. Even again, I'm always going to use this perspective just because I like to bring it into these conversations, just to kind of show the people everybody thinks differently. Everybody has a different perspective on things. Even when I, as a PvP mainly player or a hardcore player, as I thought I was at that time, with playing those styles of games, I felt like people who played who liked playing single player games, who played a lot of those types of games, who were heavily invested in those games, were grazers. I thought that's what it was, because that's what y'all do. Y'all touch on a little bit of everything. No, I wouldn't. No.
Yeah. You would have hated me.
It wouldn't have been bullying. It's never been a bullying thing. That's the one thing that does kind of make it weird, because it's never been a bullying thing. But it's just one of those
casual.
things.
That's cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you know, everybody's casual. Everybody's hardcore too. So there's that. Well, honestly, we're gaming aficionados, man. Like, we're enthusiasts. We're into this. We're here doing a podcast about it. Me and Pong could go 3 hours talking about these things. So it's like, come on, man. At some point, let's just be gamers and let's get to the game talk, right? Get to the industry talk. With that being said, before we get into these upcoming games, man.
You gonna shout out the chat? What are you gonna do?
I did want to shout out the chat. I do also want to let the chat know the main thing was I kind of wanted to put a pause in here because I may have to step away for a moment, like I told you, Pong, just to pass off my girls and everything, to go into the grandpapa house, aka Papa. So gonna have to excuse me for that. So that may happen. Hopefully it happens within this upcoming game segment. But I just wanted to let the people know about that. And I also wanted to shout the chat out, because y'all are here on a Saturday morning, don't have to be here. And you come week by week. And we got some new faces in here. And look, we just had a superstar jump in the building. Smitty Smith himself. What's going on, my guy? Geezer Prime, Fat Boy Horror, Joe Dunmore. What's going on, my guy? Aspit's been sinning. What's going on, man? First time I'm seeing you here. What's going on? Much love to you. Hit that like button. Tell your mama about it. Hopefully she'll like it. Mass Erect. What's going on, my guy?
Nice.
What just happened? I don't know what happened, man. You woke up this Saturday morning, got that energy shot in your vein. You're living split screen. You're right here. Every 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, and 3 p.m. UK time. Victor Click was going on. Rescue Squad Cult was in the house. Mr. Kima was in the house, killing it. Axel 1324 was going on, man. Cray Simmons was in the house. Dan the Man Cunningham. You already know what's going on, man. Calantis, he said he had to step away from a bit. His Series X was down, but he got it back and he's ready to get back into the games. Nice. Retro Arcade, what's going on, my guy? Who else we got? Nam Omar, I seen you in the house. Lord Roughness, what's going on, man? Yeah. Psychonauts was in the house, holding it down for the squad. Who else is in here? Mr. Double Barrel Gaming himself was in here, getting it in. I know Boom said he likes to tune in, make that whip up the breakfast in the morning for the wifey. 108 Dragons, bro. You already know what's going on. Seems like it's been a minute.
Lemon.
Hey, man, if you got some time. And this goes for anybody. If y'all got some time, we got big team battle out right now. We're also in a somewhat state of an open beta. If you know somebody got infinite access, you can get in. And with that being said, let's get into some big team. Let's get into some big team, man. I have yet to have a full 12-man team of people that just squatted up to go, to run it, right? I think that'd be dope to do. With that being said, Black Card, there was Black Card in here too. Black Card 1. What's going on, my guy? I didn't see you in the house. But if anybody else, if I missed you, if you didn't hear your name, let us know in the chat. If you're feeling the energy, let us know in the chat. If you tuning in live, let us know in the chat. And other than that, audio platform is going to be uploaded right after, usually about an hour with Halo here. I'm probably going to try to take advantage of that. So do expect the audio platforms to upload at some point today. With that being said, Pong, it's that time. We got to let the people know what the upcoming games are, because it's one of the main things I feel like we do that is different. Not only with bringing the authenticity, the energy, the organic nature, all that. That's just what we do coming out of bed. But we also got to let the people know what's coming in and what's going out, because gaming is art and should be treated as such. With that being said, let's get to it.
That's right. And this segment is sponsored by the Midweek Mix-Up Collective. That's right. Yes. Shout out to Midweek Mix-Up Collective. Yeah, we're not sponsored, but again, I got to give a shout out to Wandering Dutch and the crew over there, and remind everybody here that once we reach 400 subscribers, Wandering Dutch is going to give away a custom Xbox Series or PlayStation 5 controller. And if you have not seen Dutch's work, let me tell you something. Go
He's a
check
beast.
his out. Go to
He's a
Twitter,
beast.
go to Wandering Dutch, and go see all the postings that he has done. He has done custom consoles. In fact, his latest one, Sea of Thieves custom console, was actually spotlighted by Windows Central. That's how good this stuff is.
Yes.
Windows Central actually did an article on it. Look, the guy, it's all done by hand. It is all freeform. It is absolute beautiful, real, actual artwork that he does. And he is giving away a Xbox Series or PlayStation 5 custom controller once we hit 400 subs. So spread the word. We are over 300. Let's get there. Let's do this. But shout out to Midweek Mix Up Collective, the group that Steel and I are part of. You know, those brothers over there, man, they're doing hard work, and check out their shows as well.
Big facts.
They all deserve it. Great
excellent people.
That's why
Excellent
Steel and
people.
I are actually just decided to, you know, when we decided to make that move and join that group of, it's just a support group for podcasters and for creators. Look, the reason why is because all those people are over there are good.
Yeah, they're good people.
Steel and I only look for that good energy, right? That's what we're all about, and that's what they're about over there. So go check them out. Again, can't say enough. So just spread the word. Let's get us to 400, and let's get somebody one of those beautiful Wandering Dutch controllers. All right, so games coming out this week. We are starting at, where are we starting at this week? The 4th, huh? The 4th of October.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we got some stuff this week. We got some stuff this week for sure. So we're gonna start out big, at least for me. I know some people have been meh about this, but guess what? I'm excited. I don't know if this is gonna be day one because I've got so much to play right now. I'll be real about this. But at the end of the day, this is going to join my library of games at some point. So Alan Wake Remastered, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Alan Wake, we have talked about it here, Steel. This is a classic game from the 360. This is the definition of a cult classic, okay, right here. Alan Wake by Remedy, of course. And they are doing the remastered version now. Some people have said it's not remastered enough. I can understand that, but if you do the side-by-side comparisons, as some sites have already done, it is different. And it does look really good. Now, could they have done more? Of course they could have done more, but guess what? They're not going to spend a lot of money on this. They are working on Alan Wake 2 as we speak. What they wanted to do was get this remaster out because everybody that may have been PlayStation only all these years never got a chance to play Alan Wake because it was a Xbox exclusive from the 360 era, and it remained that way until Xbox sold the IP back to Remedy. So now they're making this remaster so everybody can get up to speed. Go play this game if you have not played it. If you've got time, I'm telling you, Alan Wake is Stephen King in video game form. If you like what Stephen King does, this game is all Stephen King.
I agree.
You know, mixed in there with some other stuff, but Alan Wake is worth your playtime. It is a great game. So I am going to be checking out the remaster at some point. Again, right now, I don't know where I'd fit it in, but it is going to join my library. So that comes out October 5th. Also, October 5th, Hell Let Loose. This game's been getting a little bit of steam here and there. I've seen some people posting about it. World War II, you know, again, we've done it. It's by Team 17. It's a shooter. So, you know what? It's been out on PC since July, and it is finally hitting console. So, you know, again, if you're looking for that World War II shooter, Vanguard isn't looking that great right now. Maybe Hell Let Loose as a AA kind of game fills that role for you. You know, again, I'm a big World War II guy, so I always like that that style or that era. But I am burnt out on it. Again, Vanguard's not coming anywhere near me. Like I said, later, if I find a really good sale, we're talking about really low sale, I will pick it up to play the single player because I do want to see where they take you in that game. But as of right now, it will not be anywhere near my series console. That's for dang sure. But Hell Let Loose comes out on October 5th. Again, Team 17. Go check that out. PlayStation 5 and series console. It seems to be only next gen only, which is kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
Or current gen again. I got out of that. Current gen. So go check that out. Hell Let Loose. Jet the Far Shore. Now this is one I've been interested in. If I get a PlayStation, I don't know if this is timed exclusive or not. This is an indie title. This looks like, again, we're talking about chill game like Sable. This looks like another one of those chill games. Jet the Far Shore. Go look at this if you have a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 4 and you're looking for one of those cool games. It's more of an exploration game, right? Where you're kind of just exploring these different worlds. Sci-fi setting, of course. Looks really good. I've had my eye on it. If it's not out for series consoles by the time I get my PlayStation 5, I will be getting this. So for sure.
Sorry.
What do you got?
Nick's wrote in the chat saying, Hell Let Loose is already out. It's called Halo Open Beta. Let's go.
I ain't gonna fight you, Nix. I ain't gonna fight you, man. Even as a casual Halo fan, I ain't gonna fight you.
Snap. That's funny.
Yeah, well, we can't wait. No, that's good stuff. Can't wait to talk about that, actually. Then we got Lego Marvel Superheroes. What?
Yes.
How long has that game been out? How long has that game been out?
It don't matter. You can put it on the Switch. Go. Let's go.
How long has this game? This game came. Let me see. You
put it on the Switch. Look. 2013. Pong.
Steel. Yeah, I was just about to say. Wii U got this game. Xbox 360 got this game. PlayStation 3
the Vita got this game.
Look, man.
Hey,
look,
2013.
Hey, Switch people. Look, love y'all. You haven't played Lego Marvel Superheroes, or if you have back on the 360 and you want to jump back into it, it is a good game.
It's a good game.
Go get it. It's on Switch. Love TT Games, what they do over there. They are masters of their craft. I always love studios like that. They know what they're doing. Look, doesn't matter if it's a Lego game. It's straight up. They're good.
Makes sense.
Oh my God. I can't believe I even said that. I had a total mind trip going back in time with that one. I was like, what? Wait,
you know what's crazy about this, Pong? This will tie into a later conversation to where this is the biggest example for that later conversation.
Yes, sir.
If people are paying attention, y'all will know what we're talking about if you're paying attention. If you're watching live, you'll know what you're talking about. What we're talking about. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Teaser. I like it. Steel. Nice job. This is another one.
This is another one I'm kind of hyped for. I'm not gonna lie.
Nickelodeon All-Star.
Not gonna lie.
Look, is this gonna be the Smash Killer, Steel? Is this gonna do it?
I don't know, but it's looking like it, and that's what's scaring me. Because I've always said, hey, if you're going to make another brawler, just take Smash Brothers. Just take it. And then just recreate it with other characters. Right. And this is exactly what they did. Sony tried. They tried.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. And then Brawlhalla or whatever it's called, it doesn't quite do it either. No. This one, along with the characters that they're adding, I know it's a lot of nostalgia more so for me, but at the same time, it looks like it's going to be fun. Like, to finally have something, because what kills me about Smash Brothers is that, do you know how much money they could make if they put it on everything?
Right.
Smash Brothers on everything?
Oh yeah, of course.
You know, I would play that every once in a while just because I had it available. Right? This looks like it's going to be one of those games that we've been kind of asking for, to be like, hey, let's just hop on, let's beat each other up real quick. Oh, you can't fight me, or whatever, whatever the case. They got Reptar in here, man. Like, they got Danny Phantom in here. They got the Ninja Turtles in here. They got
Cinnamon Toast Crunch Man, or Cinnamon Toast Man.
They got Toast Man in here. Powdered Toast Man. Like,
Powdered Toast Man. That's right.
What
that's Cinnamon Toast. I'm thinking Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Bro, they're also putting the avatars Aang and Korra in here. They just announced that actually this week. That is insane. There's actually a good lineup in here, and I'm kind of excited for it. I don't know about man. How about you?
And they could certainly even expand it. Like, there's like room to grow here, just like Smash. Like, they've got so many characters they could pull from. Now, of course, as with any fighting game, especially a Smash style game, it is going to be about the control. It is going to be about the balance. Yeah. Because what makes Smash special is all of that, right?
Yeah.
Outside of the characters, right? Yeah. Outside of the characters, that's why it became an esport, all that kind of stuff. Right. Because they
There's
had
technique to
that.
it.
The technical stuff, the meta of Smash is on point, right? So it's going to take that, but I think there's a lot of people who are going to hop into this just to hop into it because of the nostalgia, because of the characters, because of SpongeBob, because of, everybody, everything we talked about. They're going to hop into this and try it out. So October 5th, get ready. You might be seeing a lot of screenshots, not from me, but you might be seeing a lot of screenshots and a lot of gameplay running around of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, because I think there's a lot of people who are going to check this thing out.
If it's good, I don't know.
Yeah,
they can do something, man. They can definitely do something.
They could. They for sure. Then another one, a lot of people have been waiting on, a lot of fans. Again, cult classic. This is, It's
crazy that people have been asking for this. I always thought that this was just like a low tier game that I had fun with back in the day.
Yes.
But I didn't think people loved this as much as they did.
People want this. Like I've seen a lot. So Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania coming out for PlayStation 5, Series Console, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And I should advise that Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl is on everything, like Steel was talking about.
It's on everything.
That's the one advantage it does have over Smash. So so the Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, again, played Super Monkey Ball back in the day, played it with my kiddo. Great game, fun game. Again, was it something that
I didn't think it had that much hype?
No, but it does. People love it. That nostalgia, man. People absolutely love Super Monkey Ball. So guess what?
Crazy.
All of you Super Monkey Ball fans, congratulations. Got it done. It's coming out October 5th. Again, looks just like the old one did, just upgraded. It looks fun. So you know what? I'm sure a lot of people, that's what games are about. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy it. October 5th.
It could be another good party game.
Yeah, it could. It really could. Hey, Art of Rally, great game. Art of Rally is not for everybody. Top-down racer, just simplistic graphics, but those graphics that just grab you when you watch it, the gameplay. I love this game. The more I play it, the more I like it. It's not for everybody because it you got to play with the settings. This is like most racers I can just hop into. I know, Steel, you're different. You do all the hardcore stuff and you like to play around. Most racers I can just jump into and play. Okay.
I didn't like this game though. That's the other thing.
I know you didn't. And like that's why I said it's not for everybody. But if you got that old RCA Pro-Am love, if you've got that old style, that top-down racer, and you want to give something different a try Art of Rally. The music, the graphics, it's like, man, it's rally racing. So you're racing against the time, but with the settings and the music, it's like tense, but it's not. Like, it's like you're really trying to race, but it's relaxing at the same time. It's a weird thing, at least for me, when I'm sitting down to play this. Like, this is a game that I usually end my gaming night on because I just want to sit down and relax. At the same time, I'm trying to race against time, but I don't get upset at the game when I screw up and I mess up and I go off the road or I come in like, fifth place or whatever the case may be. I just kind of go, oh, all right, well, that's cool. I'll just go back and try it again. No big deal, right? So it's like this weird dynamic when you're playing this game. But Art of Rally is finally coming to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. It's been on Series Console here for a while, and Xbox consoles, I should say, for a while, and out on PC for even a longer period of time. Great game. I totally enjoy it. Again, go check it out. If you got Xbox, go check it out. It's in Game Pass. Try it out. I really do like it. So hopefully more people do over on PlayStation as well, because I want to see that team succeed, because they have a unique vision. Let's put it that way. Far Cry 6. Ubisoft is back, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people hyped for this. Shout out to Fun Speculation, Mav, Steel. I can't remember. I don't even know if we really talked about Far Cry 6. Are you day one on this, or are you waiting?
I think I got just enough time to talk about this. Before I just step away for a moment. You're good. It could be from now until next however. But as far as Far Cry is concerned, I have this hot take with Far Cry that I've never been into Far Cry like that. Mainly because I've always seen it more of a co-op experience that I would rather play it in than me just hopping in and just play it, whatever. I think it's mainly because of the other games that have always been around it. Again, it not being a PvP game, it's probably going to be the other thing that also why I hadn't played it. Now with Far Cry 6, it has me interested. It's just because of Giancarlo Esposito. He's an amazing actor. I feel like he plays an amazing villain in everything that I've ever seen him in. He also, another show that he does really well in is The Boys. So it's like, that gives me some anticipation for it, but overall, it's not a day one thing for me. It's going to be more so you hit me if you hit me up, for example, like, yo, Steel, you got Far Cry? Let's play some Far Cry. Or hey, Steel, Far Cry 6 is on sale. Cop Far Cry. We'll run through it sometime. And it would be something like that more so that I would approach. I've never been a huge Far Cry dude. Again, I like the open world games, but if I'm gonna do a open world game, I'd rather it be third person. And other than that, like, I don't know. I know they're over the top. They do a lot. They get creative. You got the crazy guns. You got the crazy gameplay. There's always crazy things happening.
Crazy
the
animals.
The animals. The villains are usually pretty good in here. But I've also heard the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, I'm not really necessarily missing out on much, per se. It's not like super different from a lot of different things. Like the only other game that's like this that I'm kind of hyped for is Dying Light 2.
Sure.
So, but I think Far Cry 6 is going to be good though. Because of Giancarlo though.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. Far Cry 6 for me is always a sale buy, one of Ubisoft's classic sales where they put their, Ultimate Edition on for, $30, right? That's when I usually pick up the Far Cries. For me, I love them. 3 is right up there just because of Oz and all of that. 3 was right up there with I wouldn't put it in top 10 for me of all time, but I would certainly put it in top 30 probably for me for all time. Far Cry 3 was great. After that, each one has been really fun. I enjoy Far Cries. I enjoy the mayhem you can create. I enjoy the creativity that they do put in their games. But for me, it is a sale buy. It is not one that I do day one. Again, that's just it isn't that for me. So, but Far Cry, again, great game. It's Ubisoft. It's classic. You're always going to find something enjoyable out of them. That's like the best thing I could say. Like, you're always going to smile at some point during a Far Cry game. It's never a slog fest. It never feels that way because, again, if you just want to drive around and create mayhem, you can just do that. And I like that parts of those games. You can get into trouble all the time in Far Cries. I love that. A lot of people are looking forward to this. So like you said, the acting is always on point. They always find great people to do work. And the story always is interesting to say the least. So I can't wait to kind of see, eventually I'll pick this game up and see where they're taking it. We've seen a lot of video on it. So it definitely is a Far Cry. So that's for dang sure. They're not trying to do anything new. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. So, hey, look, Far Cry 6, October 7th, it's out pretty much on everything: PlayStation 5, Series Console, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Stadia, PC, and they even listed Mac on here, for God's sake.
Oh, wow. That's
crazy. So you're getting it everywhere other than Switch. So
I wasn't expecting the Mac. Wow.
I know Mac's listed. I know we don't see that too often. So, but yeah, October 7th for that one. Another big release for all the Switch, all the Nintendo heads out there. Hey, look, Metroid Dread.
This might be one that I go in my daughter's room and I'm like, yeah, let me get the Switch for a bit. Let me play that for a bit. Let me hook that up to the TV for a minute. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't advocate for doing things other ways, because I do have other ways to gain access to this also. Right. So I do want to keep that in mind. So that may be the way that I end up doing that, just so I'm not bullying my daughters off the console that is mine, but I bought for them to use. But this is definitely, I don't know, especially with the whole these things with these Souls-like kind of games here recently, Castlevania style games. Well, I mean, honestly, we got a whole genre named after it, right? Like, Metroidvania. Like, I mean, like,
Yep. Yep.
so it's like Metrovania. So it's like, I don't know, man. It gives you those classic feels. And then with games like Death's Door, when you get games like that, it's just like I'm on this kick now, man. Where it's like,
I know you are. I know you are.
I don't. This could be a really good one. I don't
You're
know how
casual
you
now, Steel. You're
but
casual.
maybe.
Yeah, you used to be a multiplayer hardcore. Now you're just
I still
casual,
am.
single
I still
player.
am.
I know you are. You're sweaty. Anyways, yeah, no, Metroid Dread is looking great. It touches all the right spots of the nostalgia. It really does. Like I said, when they first announced it, though, people, again, have been looking for Metroid Prime for forever, right? That's been promised. It was, this was also promised, whatever it was, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Literally. So again, for them to finally get this out, for it to show as well as it did, because as soon as it showed, people were like, I really wanted Metroid Prime, but you know what? This is looking absolutely fantastic. This is like the old school Metroid. This is everything, that I fell in love with Metroid over is in this game by the looks of it. Plus they've amped it up even more. So yeah, no, Metroid Dread, if I had a Switch or if I had access to a Switch, I definitely would be picking this up. Metroid Dread is looking fantastic. Again, they couldn't have done any better job with it as far as how they're promoting it and how they showed it. So, I hope it does well, but yeah, all you Switch owners out there, definitely check out Metroid Dread. If you like that Metroidvania, which I can't even, it's weird to even say that about Metroid because it created the whole genre.
Yeah,
so Metroid,
that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is. So go check it out. Tetris Effect Connected coming to the Switch October 8th. All you Switch owners, again, congratulations. Welcome. Tetris Effect Connected. I'm terrible at Tetris, but I still enjoy them. And Connected, the music. Look, I love trance. I love techno.
Right.
I love that style. That is me.
Yeah.
This game, that music is just slamming. I absolutely love the music in this game. Even though I'm horrible at the game itself, I've gone back to this game lots and lots of times just to play through it, just to listen to the music and enjoy the effects on screen. I don't know what this is going to look like on Switch. You're not going to get what you get maybe on the OLED Switch.
Nah.
This might be a showpiece for that a little bit. Well, look. The OLED does make a difference on the Switch. If you've seen the side-by-side screenshots, look, I had the OLED Vita, and I've sat it next to buddies of mine, regular LCD, and there is a huge difference. So when they started showing those Switch shots, I wasn't surprised because it really is different.
I mean,
vibrancy-wise, right? But you're not going to get the full effect from Tetris Effect Connected. But at the end of the day, it is still just Tetris. So go check it out. It's fun. And then, like I said, you can't go wrong with the music. And obviously being able to play against other people or playing with multiplayer with people against a AI boss is kind of cool too, as well in Tetris. So, but again, I'm terrible. You never want me on your team. So I suck. That's just the way I am. And that wraps up what's coming out this week in gaming. Ooh. So that is the end of it. Next week, we got some stuff.
We got some hitters. We got some hitters in there. I see you.
We got some hitters. Oh, Game Pass is looking juicy next week. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's a fact.
I can't wait. Next week's going to be big. Again, it's just nonstop. Like we talked about, Steel, from here on out. Just be expected to be flooded with games. There's really not going to be very much downtime anymore. So
but that's how it is in gaming, man. I mean, again,
that's where we're at.
It goes right back into. Look, I can understand if you can play everything you to succession with no problems on the harder difficulty, whatever the case might be, and have all the time in the world to play every game in the world. Unfortunately, that's never been me at any point in my life. I've either hadn't had enough money or got money and don't got time. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, nowadays, especially, like back then, I always used to be picky because it was like, I got to work for this money that or I got to do chores, I got to do whatever else to get whatever game that I want to get. And then now it's like, okay, well, I got the bread, but where's the time to play multiple games, especially the way that I play, which, in some parts, I envy the way that you play games, Pong, because I can't stand doing that. You know what I'm saying? No, I mean not like literally, but it's like it's one of those things to where I can't do that. Like once I touch one game, I want to finish that game. It's like Tales of Arise. I still want to go back to Tales of Arise, but then boom, I started playing Kanan, and it was like, okay, well, I'll get back to it. Okay, then. All right, well, I play Kanan, and then now I'm playing Halo again. Now I'm playing other PvP games.
You're kind of being converted. You're kind of being converted right now, Steel.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe no. Because what always gets me over everything, and this is why I always say stand on your laurels as a gamer, is that a multiplayer game is always going to pull me harder than any other game will, and that's always been my problem with single player games per se. Because especially in the era that we're in now, if we don't have these multiplayer games, these single player games will not continue to exist, because something has to thrive the market, or has to, get into the market and really get the whales to come out, get people to spend money, get engagement, right? Expand the community and everything in order for you to get those single player games, whether you think that's true or not, right? The only reason superhero games work is because they're using IP that's already been in existence for however long. I know somebody brought up a good point with like the whole Wolverine thing. Oh, I think Wolverine's going to be big and this and that. And I sent a tweet out, or I sent a response saying that Wolverine's going to be big, but it's not going to be as big as Spider-Man. It's only going to be big because of Insomniac, not because of brand. Yeah, Wolverine's a known character, but he's not Spider-Man. He's not. He doesn't touch as many people. He's more of a hardcore character. He's not really, if they do it right, he's not technically meant for kids. You know what I mean? It's kind of treading that line of being for and not being for. So it's like, there's a lot of different avenues, a lot of different perspectives to take into this, and that's just something that's extremely important. Stick to your laurels, know what you're into, know what you like to play. Don't let nobody bully that off of you. I know I've been kind of saying that for multiple weeks on end at this point, but it's going to tie into this next topic because we were having the whole acquisition season talk over the last few weeks or whatever, and we've been seeing people come out and really take it to the next level and say, oh, well, monopoly, and oh, well, consolidation is bad. Oh, and the gaming is only so big, but not thinking about the bigger picture. And there's 3 billion gamers, and we are only able to tap into a market that's less than 500 million. Not even. And that's between every form of platform. That's between every console, PC or not. Yep. That's the sad part, and you're worried about the consolidation. You're not worried about the people playing games on their phone. That's not a monopoly, though, is it? Oh, are you sad that you don't have Candy Crush on your Xbox or on your PlayStation? No. See, Pong is. You know what I'm saying? No, not really, but
I'm a grazer, but
Candy Crush, that's your shopping point.
Some grass I just don't go over and eat. You know what I'm saying?
You're bougie. You like bougie grass. You like bougie grass. No, but it's like with that though, there's so much more to look at, and I feel like people, again, like we say on a week-to-week basis, people are missing the bigger picture, and that's kind of what Pong was making some conversation in the background, and Sacred Symbol, shout out to them. I got mad respect for everything they do. I wasn't into them before, but I've kind of really, because people do this thing where they half-ass listen to you, and I think that's, I'm not going to say that Colin necessarily is right in a lot of things that he says, but he comes from a decent place, right? And he talks about and he cares about all the things that he's into, and he has a successful business, man. And he said some staggering points, but he wasn't the only one. So I'm not going to make this a staggering thing directly towards him, as some other people have, and said, hey, this guy said this and it was weird. No, I mean, but essentially what he came out, what he said that he doesn't like for the example, and other people said the same, where they don't like the consolidation of the market. They don't want it to be at some point where there's only 3 big players, a few to a multiple big players at large, kind of like it is with my internet right now. I only have one other provider to go to, and I mean, that's the monopoly, right? It's one or the other, and neither one is necessarily the greatest option, so I'm stuck. I have to pick. and that's what he doesn't want to happen. But I feel like what people miss is that gaming is not that way. Like I can understand if it was like a closed market, you had to know certain people to get into the gaming industry, but it's like nowadays there's indie devs, if this year's proven that, especially with like games like Hades, with games like Death's Door, for example, that are coming out, and or Song of Iron or Ariel's Knights, that are coming out and show good representation of what games can be, could be, or trying to be, with Unreal Engine 5 looking the way that it does right now. We're just talking about engines at this point. I know that's kind of here and there. I mean, out of mind, out of sight. But there are things in the background at this point in 2021 that we're so much further ahead than we have ever been. I think the space is only going to open up more, and the key players, your Microsoft, your Sony, your Amazon, those, Netflix, whatever ends up happening, are going to be people that kind of steer the market. Not necessarily take control of the whole thing, because we still have other people that we have to keep in mind of. Embracer Group, Tencent, other people who have, Embracer Group has 70 studios. Over 70 studios. Who's the monopoly?
300 IP almost.
300 IPs. Who's the monopoly? Who are we really talking? Microsoft went from 6 or 8 studios to 23, and now there's a monopoly. Now they might have 30, and that's a problem. Like, no. Before you said content was an issue. They're addressing the content issue. Now they got more studios than the competitor. Now they got to churn out games though too. It's just. And then also falling into the whole, oh, well, Microsoft just only buys and they don't really invest. And when they do get involved, it doesn't end up well. Look at Scalebound. Look at this game. Look at this game. Look at this game. And it's like, you're also talking about a completely different Microsoft over a decade ago. And again, we're going to use common sense as humans. A decade is a long time. A lot can change within 5 years. A lot can change within the 3 years, honestly. So, Pong, with that being said, you had a lot to say on this on the background. There's a little bit of my input right there for it. A little bit of my feelings right there. But how are you feeling about this whole like take or perspective that everybody has as far as Microsoft continuously showing face as though they don't know how to maintain studios, that people are concerned that the games are going to come out and just be garbage because there's no direction. For example, like with Perfect Dark, also, where people were like, oh, the initiative's in trouble. They were a quadruple A studio and they needed help. And now we're having this come on the back end of it. How's this got you feeling? What's your thoughts on it? And yeah, man. I mean, what you thinking?
Let's roll. So earlier in the week when all this happened, the Colin thing and Sacred Symbol, shout out to them first of all. Yeah, much respect to them. Colin again, and that whole crew over there, but specifically Colin because this is his baby over there. Look, they've done a fantastic job. You can disagree with Colin on a lot of different issues. He speaks his mind. Okay. And he's open about everything. He touches the political topics that nobody wants to touch or won't touch because they're afraid of their careers. Look, he went through a lot just because of a stupid joke online because people were just waiting for him to make a misstep. Right. Some people that he considered friends didn't have his back. I hated what happened to him. Again, you can hate him. You can disagree with him. I understand all those points. Again, we're all here. We're all one big human race, and not everybody's going to agree all the time. I don't agree with all the division right now. I don't agree that we can't have discussions. I don't agree with shutting down. I don't get none of that. I don't agree with any of that. So I respect Colin. Do I agree with him on everything? Absolutely not. Do I agree with him on some stuff? Absolutely, I do. The guy has been in this industry, specifically the video game industry, for a very long time. He's an intelligent person. He does his research normally, and he really comes across and has very good points, whether you agree or disagree with him.
I don't mean to interrupt, Pong, but another person that's like that too, that I feel like he gets the same kind of criticism is David Jaffe.
Correct.
And I like to listen to his content too, because he's seen behind the curtains, and he's also, to me at least, not a terrible guy, but he will speak his mind. Right.
Jaffe has his allegiances. Obviously, when you work for a company like Sony and create some of their biggest franchises of all time, you're going to have allegiances. Colin wears his allegiance to Sony on his sleeve. He does not shy away. However, if you honestly listen to the content put out by Secret Symbols, he has been critical of Sony lately. David Jaffe has been critical of Sony lately. Those are the people I enjoy, even if I disagree with their takes or their points or whatever the case may be. That's cool. That's called being a human being. It's no big deal. I don't have issues with that. They know what they're talking about, and they come from a place where they are speaking really how they feel, and that's okay with me. I don't have an issue with that. I was going to make this segment. This segment was earlier in the week when all this went down, was going to be specifically a counterpoint to Colin's opinions,
what he said,
and to what he said. And as this week went on, I watched the entire show of Sacred Symbols. I got the full context of what they were talking about. Not that it changed a whole lot, but at the same time, when you listen to the entire show, you get the point that Colin was not that clip that went viral, that clip that got him. I mean, he got mad too, even at some Sony guys. He went after some Sony
it got taken out of context.
It got taken out of context. And again, it didn't. I didn't really understand why he got so upset, because the context itself, while there was more to it, it really didn't change a whole lot what he said.
It was what it was.
Because it was a segment that was specifically about Xbox and his feelings on what was happening. He did, throw in there that if Sony was in the same position, he would have the same type of feelings. So, again, that's what was left out, and he had a problem with that. And I understand completely, again, that he had that problem. But at the same time, I think the overall arching feeling that he has is that he is against, like you were talking about Steel, he was against consolidation to the point where there's only, there's only three players. They own all the IP. And there's no innovation. That's his big thing, is that he doesn't want to see innovation stagnate. And he thinks consolidation is going to stagnate that process. And he thinks that, again, like you were talking about, Steel, that there's just, we're going to be served fast food nonstop over and over again. And we're never going to get any steaks. We're never going to get any of that kind of stuff, the good food. And so the deal with Colin. So let's start here. This is a huge topic. Let me start here. First of all, I'll address some of Colin's points. Okay. Colin was up in his feelings. Okay. Let's be real. And that's okay. He was up in his feelings, and he was using those opinions that he was putting out there was based upon the past. Okay. He was using the past, which I got to say is the wrong thing to do. The past does not dictate the future. The Xbox that he and the rest of the crew over there were talking about were a completely different management, utterly different philosophy from where they are today in 2021. So his points about them not taking care of studios, completely different than where they're at now. And they're letting these studios, and we have proof that they're letting these studios do their thing how they want to. They're not getting in there and trying to dictate what these studios do. Right. He talked about the mismanagement of the studios. And again, this is where it kind of really went sideways, as he pulled out like Crackdown 3, right? Okay, that was not a first party studio. He pulled out Scalebound, right? That was not a first party studio, right? Nope. So yes, not good examples. You're supposed to have some control, even if you license out and you have somebody else developing a game for you, you should have some control. But at the same time, you're not in there daily with those types of studios. You're trusting a studio, you're giving them money, you're trusting a studio to put forth a good product. And those two scenarios were, again, not first party studios. So you can't take that into account with what happened to those games, right? Right. Yes. Could have Microsoft done a better job monitoring those games? Maybe made a quicker decision with a Scalebound instead of continuing to give money to Platinum that wasn't doing anything other than putting out their own games. Meanwhile, Scalebound is seemingly being left behind and not worked on and looking like, performing like crap and all that kind of stuff. Yes, you probably could have stepped in earlier and said something, right? But they didn't. Okay, so again, We're talking about the past. Now in 2021, you see a completely new management. You see a from the top Satya all in on gaming, a totally different space.
Right.
You know, they talked about the non-organic growth. I look, this organic
That's what
stuff's got to
bothered
go
me.
away.
That's what bothered me.
This stuff's got to go away. Look, look, Sony has opened and closed more studios than you know. If you go back through their past, they have opened and closed more studios. They have purchased studios, closed them down, just like EA's done. They've done all of that in their past. And this is not a whataboutism because I stay away from that stuff, right?
It's just fact.
Again,
it's fact.
It's just a fact that this is business. Okay. This is what I'm saying. Get away from this. This organic stuff is a new rule that somebody created to be able to complain,
out of nowhere,
complain about acquisitions. This is a new rule that they've decided to throw into the game, the console war game, to be able to bitch and complain and try to say that Microsoft can't create anything. All they do is go out and buy things, right? Okay, look, this is bullshit. This is business, people. This is business. This industry is based on money, just like almost every other business is. If there was no money here, we would not have any games. We would not be enjoying what we're enjoying right now. We need to get out of this old mindset, right? Yes, Steele and I praise the gaming industry as art, right? What we are seeing on screen right now with Halo is art, and it should be treated as such. It should be remembered as such, and we should be able to enjoy it as such. However, at the end of the day, the bottom line still matters to these companies. This is a business. You are going to go do whatever you need to do to compete in the space that you are in with whatever resources you have.
Right.
And Microsoft does not need to apologize for being a $2 trillion company.
Nope.
Xbox does not need to apologize for having that umbrella of $2 trillion over them that allows them to go do things that maybe other companies are not able to do.
Yep.
That's not how business works. Nike does not apologize to the little new shoe company that's showing up on the street.
Nike doesn't apologize to Adidas.
Correct.
They don't.
Nike,
they don't care.
Nike doesn't even apologize to the other big players in the game, right? You don't apologize, right? You go out and you compete with the resources and the ability that you have. You don't sit back and go, oh, we want to give those guys a fair chance. Hell no, you don't.
Nobody
you
does
go
that.
do what you need to do. And again, I honestly don't believe Phil, if he had the opportunity, would kill off Sony, even if he had given the chance. I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's the point. That's not the point, because competition is good. Competition is good for everybody. As Phil has said, that the industry, he wants the entire industry to be healthy. He wants everybody to walk in and succeed in this industry, and I believe him. But what are you going to do? You're going to do what's best for you at the end of the day, because the bottom line does matter. So get away from this organic versus non-organic, whatever you want to say, bullshit that is now running in these streets, because people want to be able to sit and complain and try to make it seem like their favorite company is all of a sudden doing it a better way.
Now you care. Now you care about organic growth.
Correct.
Come
that ain't
on,
happening.
man.
And look, if you want to talk about organic growth, cool. You want to go down that road? Fine. Talk about organic growth. Since Microsoft has purchased, since Xbox has acquired Obsidian, they have hired over 100 devs to that team. They have grown that team. You want to talk about organic? They went out and got Rare. Rare has expanded. Rare has, again, you want to say Rare's not the old Rare? Guess what? Yeah, that's right. That happens in this industry, right? That's right. People move on. Companies change.
There's a reason
teams doesn't change.
There's a reason they don't want to make Banjo no more.
Correct. There's a reason why they don't want to do this. But what is Microsoft doing? They're allowing them to grow and expand. And guess what? We got Sea of Thieves out of that. Guess what?
Yeah.
If Rare had been on their own and launched Sea of Thieves, we might not have a Rare anymore, because it would have died off very quickly. And that could have shuttered the company because of the resources they put into that. But guess what? Because Xbox owns them, because they have the security over the top of them, not only could they put out a partial game, which again is their fault, but at the end of the day, they put out a partial game like Sea of Thieves. But then you know what? Phil and everybody said, no, we believe in this game. Go ahead, keep making it better. Now what? 20 million plus gamers have enjoyed Sea of Thieves at one point or another, right? Is one of the biggest success stories coming out of Rare in forever, right? So that happened because they are underneath the Xbox umbrella. So this organic bullshit is exactly what it is. But if you really want to go there, these devs that Xbox has acquired have been nothing but organic growth. In Exile, a company not known for any kind of AAA game.
Yep.
They've made great games. Don't get me wrong. They are now given the freedom, the resources. Go hire
To
more
make
people.
whatever
Guess
they
what?
want.
You're gonna make a AAA game? Cool. Name your budget. We're gonna give it to you. We believe in you. Your idea looks fantastic. Why is that happening? Because Xbox now has them. So again, those points that were made looking through the lens of the past, which is wrong because that is a totally different time. Xbox was on the brink. Xbox was being decided. Their fate was being decided on in the background from all the stories we've heard of whether or not they wanted to continue to be in this space. Microsoft, whether they wanted to be in the gaming space at all. Xbox was not given any type of support from the top. Xbox was begging for money. They had to they could not go out and acquire studios. So guess what? Now we're 2021. Industry has changed. Industry has exploded even more. Pandemic multiplied that.
Yeah.
The industry now has more talent, more money, more people involved in it than ever before. It has now become the #1 entertainment industry in the world.
Yep.
That changes everything, people. And if you don't do your research, if you don't look outside your little bubble that you're in when you're being a fanboy or when you're trying to dictate what companies should do and shouldn't do because you don't like how they may have those extra resources to that outside of your favorite box to go do things that you can't do. You have to stop yourself from that. You have to pull yourself outside that bubble and look at the industry as a whole. Guess what? Gaming industry, #1 entertainment industry in the world, not going anywhere, only growing bigger and bigger.
Right.
This is changing the game because now, just like Phil got a seat at the big table with Microsoft, just like now Xbox has become one of the pillars of Microsoft Corporation going forward. Just like that, the gaming industry has now put themselves in the position of being ahead of the table of the entertainment world. That changes everything because now people that were not in the gaming space want to get into the gaming space.
Yes.
They want a piece
100%.
of the pie. We just saw Netflix go out and acquire a studio,
Yep.
the Oxenfree studio. I forget the name off the top of my head, but a smaller studio, right? But Netflix has come out and said, "Hey, well, look, we're gonna be looking at making smaller
Start
titles,
investing.
but this is the start." This is just because they come out and say, "Hey, we want to get into the space a little bit. We're going to try some smaller games, use some of our IP that we've accumulated, give people different experiences." Cool. They just made their first acquisition from a company that has put out a critically acclaimed, not for everybody, small title, Oxenfree. Oxenfree 2 is coming out soon. I played Oxenfree. It's a narrative-driven game. It's right up their alley. It fits right into what they're doing. But again, Netflix, a movie streaming TV series, whatever you want to call it, streaming business is now moving into the gaming space.
Okay, yeah, because they know.
Right? We see Disney finally, after all these years, relicensing, starting to go out and license out their IP to the gaming industry like they used to through Lucas.
They're not playing about Star Wars.
They're not playing about Star Wars, and they're obviously not playing about Marvel, right?
That's a fact.
So they're obviously not playing, right? We got Spider-Man, now we got Wolverine coming. There's rumors of a multiplayer game coming out. So the entertainment industry is now coming to the gaming industry because the gaming industry is now sitting at the head of the table. And the rest of the industry, the movies, TVs have seen themselves dip, partly due to the pandemic, partly due to everything. We're probably never going to go back to normal again, people. I hate to say it, but again, with all the changes that have been made, with all the stuff going on, we may never get back to that normalcy that everybody's looking for. So this might be the new normal. And even if it does get back to normal, there's going to be a whole lot of people themselves that don't go back to their normal ways again. Right. Streaming is becoming bigger and bigger. So now you got these entertainment companies coming to the game industry going, "Hey, what can you guys offer? What can we do? We need to start partnering up." You see Sony making a deal with Netflix, right? You see this. Why do you see this? Sony has an entertainment division. Sony has movies. Sony has music, right? Sony has gaming.
Yep.
They make a deal with Netflix. Why? Because they see the future too. The future is streaming eventually. Again, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So they're going to cut that deal. When Sony eventually comes to the table with their own Game Pass, which it will happen. It's a matter of when, not if.
Yeah,
they're going to have an answer. PS Now is great, but they're going to have a real answer. Guess what? When they come to that table, when they make that decision to go live with their service, they are going to offer their movies. They're going to offer their music. Why? Because you are going to be able to say, hey, we have a diverse collection of content in our service. So while you're looking at the competitors, guess what we can offer you? We can offer you not only the game, but we can offer you all of this as well. They're partnered up with Netflix. That might be rolled right on in too. They're going to be able to offer this complete package, right? So now, because of all this is happening, because now that the gaming is a part of the entertainment industry, it's not looked as as again, people forget how far we've come in these 4 or 5 decades since video games started. It is no longer the kiddie game, right? It is no longer the kiddie industry. It is no longer the toy industry. It is no longer part of all of that stigma that's been around for so long. It is now considered an adult form of entertainment. The average gamer now, I think Strauss said, is getting up there at 36, 37, the average age of the gamers now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, people are growing up and continuing to play games. That's how it's worked. That's how it's worked for me. That's how it's worked for a lot of people in this community. Yeah. That's happening. So now they are no longer looked in that light, right? They no longer have that. The entertainment industry as a whole no longer has that view of video games. Oh, like, oh, that's nice. Kind of like Microsoft did with Xbox for all those years. Oh, that's cute.
Well, at the same time, they still do.
Toys. Correct. But at the same time, they still do, but it's changing because the money is there, right? What we just talked about, the bottom line is the money, and the money is huge. They have the biggest growth going out of all the entertainment industries. So that's what's getting all these people interested. Right. But we've talked about it here, Steel. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it. And this is where I know you guys listening, this is a long way around when we're talking about acquisitions and all that kind of stuff and what Colin was saying and what the community in general was saying. But Steel and I have been talking about this nonstop since we started this podcast. When these discussions come up, to get out of your narrow point of view, your small world view, you have to look big. If you're going to try to look at this industry, and if you were going to attempt to try to understand where it's going, you need to take a step back and try to put yourself in Phil's shoes. Try to put yourself in Satya's shoes. Try to put yourself in Herman Holz's shoes. Try to put yourself in these bigwig shoes. It's not always easy to do, but you have to take the satellite view. You have to start projecting 5, 10, 15, 20 years out where this is all headed. Guess where it's headed? People are already complaining about how many subscriptions they have. If you look at your subscriptions right now, the average person probably has somewhere between 5 and 8 subscriptions.
Hey, Pong, you know what people were complaining about before?
What?
Oh, my cable is too expensive.
Right, correct. We cut our cords, right? Guess what we're back to again? $200 a month in subscriptions.
And now you're complaining that you have too much variety.
Right, exactly. Too many subscriptions. So the industry sees this, the bigwigs see this, even though everybody's trying to get their own subscription up, right? And everybody's trying to do what Disney does, but not everybody has the IP that Disney does where they can get 100 million subscribers in 1 year. Not everybody can do that. It took Netflix a lot longer than that to get to that point. So not everybody can do that. Eventually, they all realize, right, that it is going to have to consolidate. There is going to have to be acquisitions. They're going to have to be partnerships.
If you want better product, hell yeah. Goddamn right.
Because if you're just a small little streaming service that offers one little slice of selection and you've got 15 other ones offering bigger, guess what? You're going to be lost. Nobody's going to pick you up. Nobody's going to care. Everybody's going to be like, yeah, that one show, but I already watched 12 other shows, right? And I'm not going to do that. The entertainment industry, including video games, is going to have to consolidate again. Yep. We saw some consolidation with radio back in the day, then with TVs, now with movie studios. We saw all this consolidation happen. Guess what? Now, video game consolidation is coming in as well, but they are going to start consolidating and partnering with the rest of the entertainment industry to make sure the services are offering as big and as wide a selection, as diverse a selection as content as possible. So when we start talking big, let me tell you this. If you guys didn't watch Xbox Ultimate last night, okay, Steel and I talked about this specifically, I think during acquisition season, when we were talking about the different people that Xbox could go
Yep.
after. And we talked about it. Just, I think I specifically said it here. Steele and I talked about it. I think I specifically said it on other shows. If there is a titanic shift in Microsoft's philosophy, Microsoft is a service and software company. Guys, remember that, service and software. They have learned through the decades to stay in their lane in many ways, right? They don't go outside of what they're good at too often, right? When they've tried, it hasn't always worked out for them. So they've had this mindset for a long time. Look, we're going to focus on what we're good at: software and service. Service is right up, fits right in with like a Game Pass, right? They switched over. You know, again, it's perfect, right? So they understand that side of things,
right?
But if there is a titanic shift in philosophy within Microsoft, and they're looking at the entertainment industry as a whole, and they see what Sony's doing over here and what Sony's going to be able to offer, and they see what Disney's doing over here, and they see all these other companies, and they're looking 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road where this entertainment is going. You're looking at a picture where you need to have content outside of just one form. You need to have content to offer people. If you are going to go after 2 billion, 3 billion people, it's not going to be on the backs of gaming. Strauss from Take-Two, in his interview with Phil, his famous interview this week, which we'll talk about a little bit later, maybe too, Strauss said they still do the analytical studies that show that people still watch when streaming content, entertainment into their home. The average consumer still averages more time on TV and movies and news than it does on games. Games account for about maybe an average, I think he said 45 hours, I want to say, don't quote me, but I think he said about 45 hours a month on games. So that was his whole point about, you know, they don't feel that big games, day one, AAA games should drop into a service. He doesn't think that that's feasible, because to him, when he hears 45 hours, he said that's maybe 1 or 2 games. So he doesn't see a streaming service as viable for big games, right? Fine, cool. You can have that opinion. That's not a problem. I see 45 hours and I see 10 games in my life, 15 games in my life. That's me. Crazy. Of course. Yeah. So anyways, but he said that the rest of it, he said that the average consumer spends over 100 hours in movies, TV, news, etc., streaming. So that's where that discrepancy comes from, right? So think about this. If you're going to go after 2-3 billion people, you have to think about that. You have to think about the people who maybe only do touch a game or two, that look at your Game Pass service and say, hey, that's great value, but I just don't sit down and play games that way. What else do you have for me? Now, that's where the titanic shift in philosophy comes into. Microsoft sees what's happening in this industry. Consolidation is happening in the game industry. We know that for a fact. It's been going on. Colin, for whatever reason, avoided that whole fact when he's talking about this. Consolidation's happened. The game industry is gigantic. Consolidation is not going to hurt innovation, because there's always going to be smaller people filling the voids of those that are acquired, because we have so much talent trying to get into this industry. There are plenty of people to pick up the slack, and those indie developers, if you look at a AAA for innovation, you're looking in the wrong spot. You're going to be looking for innovation in the indies, the AA's. That's where you're going to find your innovation.
You have to find the innovation in the tools that are becoming available to these devs that have never been available or as consistent as they are today.
Right. They can take the risks.
Yes. The fact that a dev off the street can download Unreal Engine 5 and build the game should already show you where we're going.
Right. And if you look at those Eastern developers that Steele and I have been preaching about, guess what? Innovation. We're seeing new things out of it. I saw the one this week that looked like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, literally jumping through treetops, flying through the air. Legit, I was like, yo, I mean, we've seen like stuff like it, but it was totally different because it was easier. Anyways, I'm getting off track. So when you see this stuff, you can't think the normal way that a gamer thinks, somebody who's been just in this industry. You have to think like a bigwig. You have to look at the big picture and see what's happening. So there's consolidation happening in video games. What's the next step? The next steps is these services. If streaming services are the future, which I believe they are. If they're here to stay, then what are you going to do to differentiate yourself? Microsoft is going to look bigger than any of us, well, some of us, ever considered. Microsoft is going to look to start acquiring content outside of video games. Microsoft is going to look at TVs, movies, etc. They are going to look to jump into that game. Why? Because they need it for Game Pass as a service. They need it to expand and broaden their horizons, which they already have extreme horizons when it comes to how many people they want in this service. They're going to look to be able to offer more and more people content that appeals to them. If you can offer a Game Pass service that gives you movies, gives you TV shows, gives you whatever the case may be, and then also throws in games at the same time, your net just got exponentially bigger. Your net just grew a lot because again, there are those people out there that don't play games as much as we do, but still do have all these other services. So if you take a look at this picture, now, if you didn't watch Xbox Ultimate last night, shout out to Fun Speculations channel, Mav, part of that group. Go watch that show. First of all, it was a hilarious show. We had Kay Asante on, and then we had Dealer on. So go watch it. You know, when you get Dealer, you're going to get the absolute craziness. When you got Kay Asante, you got the professional. It was a great mixed show last night. We had some great conversations. Dealer dropped something last night that was pretty big to me. Again, he didn't drop anything specific at all because he won't do that. There's a lot here to think about. But I was up late last night. I kept waking up thinking about this, Steel, coming into today's show. So Dealer last night on the show said that the things that he's heard in the background, again, take all this with a grain of salt. We all know how this works, but it makes sense. He said the things that he's heard in the background are bigger than anything that most people have imagined. He said the things that he's heard in the background are to the point where people are going to say, how big is too big? Okay. And I asked him specifically on the show, again, this is all public. This was not in the green room. This was on the show. You guys can go back and listen to it. He made that statement. I followed up and I said, so are you saying, Dealer, I said, are you saying that you believe from what you've heard that Microsoft now is looking to get into other forms of entertainment as well? And he said, absolutely. Okay. That's huge. Look, folks, gamers. I know we're here about games, but just let me tell you something. If that seismic shift of philosophy change has happened within Microsoft, and again, I say Microsoft because this is all Microsoft, right? We're going to get the benefits on the Xbox side of things, but this is Microsoft jumping into a whole brand new industries. Okay. This is totally different. If this is real and this is true, and this is what they're looking at, that shifts the acquisition talk that we were previously talking about. That shifts the whole mindset of where you got to be looking at. Yes, they're still going to pick up smaller studios. Yes, the IO stuff that kind of got talked about this week, the Avalanche stuff, the Crystal Dynamics stuff that we touched on. Right. Possibly this is trials, trying to see how they work with the teams, blah, 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 blah. That's all still going to be real. That's all still can be happening. That's all legit, right? That's all legit. But you're talking about a bigger acquisition that we've been hearing about nearly for almost over a year now. On top of the ZeniMax deal, we started hearing almost immediately there was the bigger one in the works. If you're thinking about that, but you're thinking about Microsoft moving into the entertainment industry, look, Steele, you and I talked last week. We went through the options. One of the main players. This is again, people. This is opinion. This is just speculation town. This is all about it. Just going off what Dealer said last night. And how that would mean, what that would mean. There was one company that we talked about that fits this mold, and that's WB. Look, gamers, look.
Yo, hold on, because I want you to deep dive. I definitely want you to deep dive that. But just real quick, because me and you have been. I feel like the most consistent about this whole WB thing. I mean, definitely for our own reasons and everything, because there's a multitude of reasons. I mean, you're not talking about Batman, you're talking about Lego, you're talking about Lord of the Rings, we were talking about some other things in the background, you're talking about The Matrix. They all have movies coming out, except for Lord of the Rings. All have something coming out.
To clarify, hold on, just to clarify, chat and whoever's listening to this in the future, listen, we're not talking about the WB Games division. Okay, we're talking about the entire
whole thing.
You're talking about the whole thing. Okay, this would mean Microsoft owns all those IPs outright. They own all the movie studios outright. They own all the TV studios outright. They own all the production companies outright. This is the entire thing. We're not talking any longer about just the games division here. This would be a move that fits in line with them going forward. Sorry, Steel, I just want to clarify that.
No, I mean, but because you're about to deep dive it further, but I just want people to understand it's not just about the games at that point, because the games are cool and all, but at the same time, I know people know that the movies, I know you can't be missing the fact that the movies aren't also part of that deal, and so that's something that's being considered with it, especially with there's movies being made right now that already set that track up, right? And Dan brought up an interesting point. He said buying Disney, Disney would give them full access, and cool. It would, but I don't think Microsoft doesn't have. They're not going to buy Disney.
I don't know if Microsoft. Look. When I said seismic shift, I don't know if that includes theme parks.
Okay. They see.
I don't know.
I mean, I know Microsoft is going to let people do their own thing, but they're not about to buy Disney and Disney just be cool with that. Like, that's not about to just happen.
Nothing's off the table, Dan. I'll never say never. I never deal in that.
Yeah, true.
No, I'll never say never.
But I'll put it to you this way. If Microsoft bought Disney, there's no reason for Sony to do anything anymore, because that's automatic 200 million subs that you already have in the service that would already be tied in. And that would just be a cheat code. Like, I just don't see that happen. They would have to spend way too much money to get that. But something like WB, like you're about to deep dive on, Pong, not only for gaming, but for movies, but for and all the IP behind the wall is what makes this so enticing for me. Because not only that, but you're also acquiring another engine, which WB has also, well, I say engine, but it's the Nemesis system. That WB is also patented and licensed to themselves, so you have to go through them to even want to use it, because they didn't put it on free market. You have to pay them to use it if you thought about using it. So we don't know when that system could get used again, if there's not going to be another Shadow of whatever game. For Lord of the Rings. So that my fault on interrupting you, but everything. But I wanted to add those things in there, because I feel like people have made, we've constantly been told think big. We're talking about big acquisitions. We're talking about bigger than ZeniMax. You have to think about the money that was spent. Okay, $7.5 billion. What can be way bigger than that and kind of make that look smaller?
Yeah. Well, this would
definitely do that. But go ahead, Paul, my fault.
No. That's cool. That's really cool. You know how this works, brother. So Warner Brothers fits the mold. Warner Brothers brings everything that Microsoft as a corporation should be looking for. Warner Brothers has all the content. They come with game studios that Xbox would be coveting. Okay. All the studios. We've talked about all the studios, right? The TT Games on up, right? All the studios, NetherRealms, you name it, they've got it, right? It comes with technology like Steel was talking about. If they're going to jump into this pool, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Again, got to think big. You got to think down the road, not talking about tomorrow, talking about 5 years, where this whole industry, entertainment industry, is going to be. We've already seen the merging of so many of them. We already see movies and TV taking IP from video games and turning them into hit shows. We've seen, the Marvel universe explode, MCU explode, taking from comic books made 60 years ago and bring them to the big screen nowadays, and turning it in 80 years ago, so in some case turning them into big time marketing and success. You got to think the industry as a whole understands that there is consolidation happening. They're going to have to come together. They can't be split off into all these separate groups trying to sell subscription services. It's not going to work. Eventually people are going to be like, enough's enough. We did it with cable, like Steel had said. Now we're back to it again. Now we just feel like we have a little bit more choice, but at the end of the day, with everybody splitting off doing their own subscriptions, we don't have choice anymore.
Right.
Because you have to, if you enjoy a bunch of different content, you got to buy from a bunch of different people. That's not going to be long-term successful, there's going to have to be consolidation. Warner Brothers gives Microsoft the instant in that they need to all of it. And on top of that, you strengthen your Xbox division, which has become a core pillar. I think this move makes complete sense. They own all the IP. We talked about this deal when we talk about the acquisitions, only if it came with the IP. That was the holdup last year during negotiations. Part of it was because the IP licensing is such a freaking nightmare to get through.
Yeah.
And Microsoft would not want any, outs. They would not want anything where all of a sudden they're making games for, let's say, Batman. All of a sudden, 3 years down the road, Warner Brothers says, we're going with somebody else. They don't want that. So if this is the big plan, Warner Brothers, I believe, again, it's just opinion. All this is opinion. All this is speculation town, that Warner Brothers would be the main focus. And I think that it's something, you look at the market cap, Warner Brothers is right around 22.8 million, or billion. So you're looking at about a $40 billion purchase plus. Okay. That, again, earth shattering, right? But Microsoft, there's been talk about Microsoft spending $40 billion on other companies just recently in the past year.
Deal's not going through.
Deal's not going through. They have the money. They have cash. That's like a third of the cash they have on hand, fourth of the cash they have on hand. Inflation is going through the roof, and it's going to continue to go on the roof. There's a whole lot more complexity to it. Obviously, this is not a financial show, but offshore money versus all. There's a lot of that, but inflation is going through the roof. Feds just came out and said inflation is going to continue for the foreseeable future, longer than they first thought. Anybody who's been paying attention to things knows that this was going to happen. Inflation basically eats up the money that's just sitting there. The cash is doing them no good. They're losing money by just having cash on hand. They're going to spend this cash. Where are they going to spend it? If the decision has been made, if Satya has looked at everything and said, look, this is the time. We've got a small window here where we as a corporation can jump into a completely new industry and give it our best. We have the service in place with Game Pass now. If we are going to try to explode this, if we are legit serious about going after 2 billion, 3 billion people in the world, we have to look at the entertainment industry as a whole, not just one segment of that industry.
Right.
We need to go do something, right? Warner Brothers, to me, as Steele and I have talked about plenty, is the best bet for this. It fits every single part of what that would look like. Again, I can't, my mind trying to wrap around an acquisition of this size between a company like Microsoft, I can't imagine what that deal looks like. At the end of the day, I can't imagine what goes into that. This is something that we probably would not hear about until much further down the road. But eventually it's going to have to, because again, of course, they're a public company, publicly traded company. So we'll eventually have to hear about it. They can't hold it forever. But I think this is, if what dealers hearing is true, I think this is where their sights are set. And I think that this could be the earth-shattering move that is heard around the world. And I think this is what puts them on the map in the entertainment business. And I think going forward, it dictates the roadmap at that point becomes much more clear to how they're going to reach those astronomical goals that they have. I think the roadmap becomes much more clear. Again, there's a lot of what ifs. And there's a lot of question marks because you're jumping into an industry you've never had any interest in before. It's a cutthroat industry, much like the games industry. But if you're going to do it, a $2 trillion company is the company that can possibly do it. I'd like to say this too as well. Do not forget Tencent. Tencent has been kind of hamstrung right now by the Chinese government. Tencent is still out there looking. Amazon, people laughed at Google failed. Google came in, dipped their toes in the water, said, nope, we're out. Never were fully into it. Amazon now has success. For anybody who didn't hear this week, New World,
MMO
exploded over 1 million concurrent viewers at one time, or close to. It was like 900 and some thousand concurrent viewers at one time streaming. If you don't think that taste of success, Amazon had failure. They shut down one game, didn't even put it out. They said, nope, we're done. If you don't think that tastes of success for Amazon in this game has not emboldened them, you're seriously mistaken.
Yeah.
If you don't think Amazon is not looking at the entertainment industry, knowing that they have a subscription service already built themselves,
Yeah.
in one side, knowing that they already have the movie studios that are producing content for them already built. They have the servers.
Yeah.
Google, Amazon, Microsoft, the only ones with the server capacity that size. So you don't think they're not looking at that? They now have Luna sitting there. You don't think they're not looking at that and saying, okay, this is where the entertainment industry's gone? All right, cool. We got our first taste of success with New World. We can do this. Let's try again. Let's go a little bit bigger. Let's go find somebody else. Let's go buy somebody else. If you don't think they're not looking at that as well, you're sadly mistaken. This could be the start, right? We've seen the start of the consolidation, but this could be the start of the all-out war, I should say, the arms race, I should say, where people start gobbling up bigger and bigger things. The entertainment industry as a whole is going to consolidate further for all the reasons we talked about. We can't have 20, 25, 30 different subscriptions out here. It's just not going to be feasible for everybody to survive. There's going to be consolidation as a whole. It's not something to be feared. Again, can it wind up being bad? Absolutely. Things can go sideways if you wind up with two big giant conglomerates that are just own everything. With the games industry specifically, that's never going to happen because you have way too many independent developers. You have, especially now, like Steel was talking about, independent developers coming up now have access to the technology that the big boys do. They may not have the resources to make those types of games, the size of games, but they have the resources, which is the creativity and the manpower they can go get from everywhere. Because again, smaller people, trying to make their way in the industry, got to start somewhere. The big boys ain't hiring, or if they can't get into that door, guess what? They're going to go to an independent developer and work their butts off to get up there. Guess what? There's going to be plenty of talent where those smaller teams using the same technology that the big boys are using, come out with some incredible, innovative, new, risky style games that fill those voids from all the gaming acquisitions. So that, to me, is not a concern. I think we continue to see that. That just means more growth for this industry as those people gain experience, as those people create new things, as the AAAs take that innovation and move forward. I think that's where we see continued growth in this gaming industry, and it's not something to fear at all for me personally. Again, you're welcome to your opinion. I understand the fear of those the monopoly talk, all that kind of stuff. I understand that side of things. I do. I get it. But at the end of the day, I just don't think it's going to happen here. But again, the main point of this is we got to start thinking bigger, gamers. We got to start thinking bigger. We got to start thinking like, if you're interested in this industry, if you're just interested in playing games, cool, no problem. Steel and I are interested in bigger things as well. We're interested in this industry as a whole. I totally get why you're just interested in games. Maybe some of this bored you guys to death. I don't care. I totally get it, and I respect that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to talk about what interests me, and this business stuff does interest me a lot. And I love to see these chess moves, and I want to see where this is going to go, because I'm planning on still being here 20 years from now. I can't wait to see what we're getting at that point. But I think there's big changes coming down the road. I think there's huge seismic changes coming down the road in terms of where, how we consume our content and what that content all entails. It's no longer just going to be about the games when we subscribe, when we log into Game Pass, or when we log into Sony's, whatever service they come out with, PS Now Plus, whatever they decide to name it, whatever Netflix decides to do, whether that's with Sony, whether they start their own stuff, who knows? Amazon jumping into this game. If all that happens, I can't wait to see when we log in what we have access to everywhere. Because again, Microsoft's got that unlocked. People are going to be looking at that and modeling their system after that. Microsoft's idea of having their servers be able to access your content anywhere you are, wherever you are, it all syncs up. It's all seamless, no matter where you are in the world. That, I think, is going to be the future of all streaming services, because that accessibility is key to all of this. So That's what I would
Yeah,
assume.
no, 100%. I'm right there with you for that, because again, the biggest thing for us, and I feel like I can speak for both of us for this, is that again, like you said, we do look at the bigger picture. I mean, we could talk about personal shit all day, and that's going to be a quick conversation, to be completely honest with you, because I'm not one of those people who is going to argue with you why I should play whatever game that you're going to try to recommend me to play, or why I should be convinced that your way of thinking is the way that I should think. Again, I feel like there's more, not only variety, but there's more perspective, and there's more to people who have different opinions, varying opinions, that we can have a conversation together. And if we have to come to a point where we kind of like agree to disagree, I would rather do that than to just agree on everything. Right. Again, I understand that people, again, you want to talk about games and everything, and I understand that people don't like talking about having the acquisition talk because, what do we know? He say, she say. But one of the biggest points that I always wanted to bring up, and it's something that I've always thought about, is this isn't outside of what I would normally think, because this entire play, like, I know y'all say, like, everybody was shitting on Xbox and saying how bad Microsoft was doing in 2013 and everything. Like, I remembered that whole entry to the Xbox 360, coming off of the PlayStation 3 into the PlayStation 4, the 360 into the One. I remember that transition, because that was the transition to me. I essentially going into manhood, right? I'm going out of high school, getting into college. I'm really paying attention to things.
Last year?
I'm invested. Yeah, sure. Last year. But even before that, I always had this perspective of, I understood what Microsoft was trying to accomplish, letting people know that we're heading into a digital era and you are going to consume digital media more than you will ever have before, and you should go ahead and invest in it now. Guess what? They were 10 years too early, and they bit the bullet for it. And now we're exactly where they said we were going to be. But somebody had to bite the bullet for it. Also, they didn't have, again, an entire company behind them who had faith in what they were doing. We want to talk about these names. Strauss, Phil, Satya Nadella also came out in a recent interview and said that Microsoft considers Xbox not just he said himself that it's not a side project. It's not a side thing. We consider it a pillar of what we do here. It is one of the main things that we want Microsoft to be built off of. And with that kind of a backing, when you have those kind of conversations going on in the boardrooms, you have to pull yourself back and say, okay, what is the true bigger picture? What are we trying to accomplish here? We know that gaming is growing and is the biggest form of entertainment, but let's go farther than just console warring. Let's take it farther than just, oh, my brand's better than your brand. Let's take it to, okay, there's a lot of people who were bullied for this stuff, picked on, still don't get taken seriously for it. When you tell people that, when I tell somebody at work, still to this day, and I work with younger people, I'm talking about like 25. I went through a whole training class with people that were under 25 years old, right? I'm 29. I say I make you feel old, that made me feel old, right? But to give you perspective, when I tell them, hey, I play games to relax and whatever, they're like, you play games? Like, why do you play games? Like, you don't like to go outside? I'm like, yeah, I ride a bike, I got other hobbies and things, but gaming's my main thing. And they're like, oh, well, I feel that. I've never got into gaming. I just can't get into gaming like that. It's not a thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, so it kind of, and this is multiple people where they still like, when I say multiple people, I actually mean majority of people who still look at it that way. Oh, you game. Oh, okay. Then you feel like they give you that look where you feel like you have to explain to them. And then when you try to explain, now they're lost. Now they don't know what the hell you're talking about. So it's like, I understand like people like to get involved within the community and feel like everything is, oh, it's only here. No, this is what goes on in real life still. People still think gaming is corny. People still think that it's still a child's thing. People still feel a certain type of way, and we're trying to balloon that, and because it is getting now understood, quote unquote, but with the moves that are making this age of accessibility that we're in, we're moving more towards people being more open to what we not only stand for as gamers, the varying opinions, and what the overall market is going to end up bringing into this form of entertainment that we've been enjoying since we were all young, right? And that's why we're all here listening and paying attention and wanting to be involved in the scene and everything. It's just important to think on those things and not get so caught up in your own bubble. Again, people can feel however they want, man. I mean, people do this shit for entertainment. People just want to get on here, have jokes, have a good time. Cool. Whatever your escape is. My actual escape is me playing games, not arguing with people online. Conversation is different. Arguing with you because you think that your plastic or your particular game style is better than mine is a whole different conversation. And honestly, that conversation can go many different ways, and it's in many different rabbit holes. Like, it really can. Because again, shout out to another guy that I'll be paying attention to, Doc Dark 1985. He made an excellent video that brought up the point that nobody can tell you what a hardcore gamer is, but everybody wants to tell you that you're not a hardcore gamer. And not one person can give you a finite definition of what a hardcore gamer is. Not one. Everybody has a different thought process. So if that doesn't tell you everything that you need to know, then there's a bigger picture at hand, man, and that's the point.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And again, accessibility is what it's all about. If people don't understand that at this point, it's accessibility. Fuck all the nonsense that goes on. It's about getting a bigger group of people. Like you said, Steel, there's still a stigma out there with a lot of people, but guess what? That's breaking down slowly.
Yeah.
But if this consolidation happens the way we've been talking about here today, that's going to happen even more. Because guess what? People not only are going to, when they log into their service, whatever service it is, all of a sudden they're watching, I'll throw out an example. The Witcher. Okay. They're watching I'll do a better. Let's stay on the WB thing. They're watching Batman, right? They're watching new Batman on their streaming service, right? All of a sudden they've got access on their phone. They've got access on their laptop, whatever, to a game, to Batman, the game. All of a sudden they're like, they don't really play games, but they really love Bat. And they're like, you know what? It's here. It's right here in front of me. It's part of my service.
Right.
I'm just going to check this out. Right.
Might as well.
Check this out. Yeah. I'm going to try this out. My kid was talking to me about, I'm going to try this thing out and see what it's about. All of a sudden that little taste, maybe they really like it.
Then that's 40 hours later.
Right. And now all of a sudden now a whole new world has opened up for that person. Right. Now all of a sudden they look on the whole gaming industry differently. Right. All of a sudden they're like, oh man, I never knew this. I never knew I was going to enjoy this. That's what it's going to be. It's giving you as much as possible in one spot so that you have access to it no matter where you are. So that if all of a sudden you just got an itch, it's not going to be a big deal for you you'll already be logged into the service. You're watching the movie, get done with the movie. Oh shit, man. I really like that. Oh, I got the new game out for that movie. Let me try that out. You just pull it up and you're playing it.
Yep.
That accessibility is the next step that gives people the option to taste a little something different. And again, that's what moves mountains.
Yep.
That's what's going to get you to that 2 billion, 3 billion people. When all of a sudden people just have access to it.
Yep.
As easy as pie. And that's what this is all about too. But yeah, we are breaking down barriers. The industry is again, bottom line, it's a business. At the end of the day, the money directs everything. The money controls everything. As sad as that is to say, I know there's a lot of people in this industry here for the passion, just like Steele and I are doing podcasting for the passion of it.
Yeah.
We're not making money. We're not, I'm giving up my time to talk about something I love. Steele's giving up his time while he deals with real life stuff as well.
Yeah.
To do something that he loves. That's all we're doing. And there's people in this gaming industry that do that. But at the end of the day, if there was no money here, there wouldn't be an industry to talk about, right? There wouldn't be these moves to make. So when we think about this stuff, when we talk about this stuff, it's important to remember it's just business. And you can break it down any way you want to. You can create all these new rules that you want to try to judge a company versus another company. You can do all that, but that's wasted energy. At the end
Right.
of the day, these companies are talking to each other. At the end of the day, these companies are in competition with each other. But at the end of the day, they're all about just making that dollar.
Yep.
Period. Point blank.
That's it.
And there can be extra goals. Phil's
Yeah.
talked about preserving gaming. I believe him. That's not a tagline. That's something that he, as a gamer, because outside of business, he is a real gamer. He
Mhm.
really wants this industry to be preserved for future generations. I do believe that, but he also understands it's going to take money to make that happen. And if he ain't making money, if he isn't making Xbox look good, guess what? He's going to be out the door and they'll find somebody else, or they'll, like they were going to do years ago, maybe shutter the whole thing down and there
Mhm.
ain't going to be an Xbox anymore. So again, just keep that in mind. It's part of the business. That's all it is. It's business.
Yeah.
Period. So
And as long as competition goes back and forth, I think we're going to be in a good space, man. Again, Pong, man, like we get into these strides, and I just don't understand like how it works. And when I'm talking about,
2 hours in,
we're 2 hours in. We're 2 hours in.
I feel like we just started 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's what makes this great. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still locked in, tuned in, this is the Living Split Screen, where we go live every 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time on a Saturday morning. That new Saturday morning cartoons for y'all. Whether you're a young man, young lady, or an adult ass man, or adult ass woman. Either way, we're here for you, representing, just giving you that passion, giving you that authenticity. Excuse me. Throw a little country in there, and
that Florida.
Yeah, it is a little bit of that Florida. Get that sun glowing outside. And just that passion that we've been kind of speaking on this whole time. I feel like this episode has definitely been more, again, kind of a continuation of the passion, speaking to what's been kind of going on throughout the week. This week, there has been multiple things, like with Game Pass dropping multiple games out. Again, Scarlet Nexus is in there. I suggest anybody that has not tried it, maybe was questioning it, maybe you're not into those style of games, try it, see if you're into it. I feel like the demo doesn't do the game justice, so play the actual game. It's in Game Pass now. The more attention we can get to these Asian games, the more the devs will see that this is something that we in the West are interested in, right? That's been the biggest thing, is that the East has felt like the West is kind of separated from each other. We're not into that. Anime is now Xbox specifically being an American brand and being an American-based company and everything. But as we've seen, Sony kind of move out of the scene, Nintendo kind of stay with their, on their laurels, and then with gaming kind of going with where it's going. Not only gaming, but also anime is the same thing, blowing up more than it ever has. I feel like my generation allowed for anime to come to this popular place that it's at now, because it's like people that are my age and younger that are like, oh, anime's cool now. When back in the day, I saw mad people get bullied for this shit. Like, I mean, not me per se, but it was just like, I saw mad people get bullied about it.
You want to go back further? You want to go back further, Steel?
I know, even then, because one of the biggest things, worse. Yeah, I know. People used to tell me all the time. My uncle used to tell me all the time. But even to this day, when you just out and about telling random people, that's another thing that it's kind of like gaming, where it's taking time to kind of grow on people. But even today, if you ask somebody, yeah, I watch anime, they automatically think you watch tentacle porn, and it's like. That's not anime, like that's hentai. Like what are we doing? Like, but when you tell people that's what they automatically think of. And that's what makes it hard for the East to market to the West, because if we already have that mentality, we're also already locked into whatever brain cell you want to use that day, then of course people like. You have people come out and say that we don't understand their games, or we just don't want their styles, or don't enjoy their stories and everything. And games like Scarlet Nexus allow that to kind of be expanded out, and it's an amazing game. You guys definitely need to be trying it out. Game Pass has definitely expanded a lot of areas, like you talked about earlier.
No risk, no foul.
Yeah,
that's what Game Pass is great for. And I've seen more and more people trying games that they never tried before that absolutely love it, including anime style RPG games, which is fantastic. Look, we can talk about Tokyo Game Show later too, but Phil Phil's doing the work every day. He says he's pushing every day
we
to
can talk about
get
it.
more Eastern games here. He came out and said that this week. And Sarah Bond confirmed that's exactly what they're trying to do. And so they're putting in the work. So now it's up to us gamers. And again, you like what you like. Again, like Steele and I always talk, man, you know who you are as a gamer. Yep. That's totally cool. All I'm going to say is if you are a Game Pass subscriber, if you have Game Pass in any form, don't be afraid. Even if you, again, I never tell anybody how to game ever. Don't care. If you're just strictly multiplayer, be strictly multiplayer. That's fine. But if anything catches your attention, don't be afraid to download it and check it out for a second. Check it out for a minute and just see if it grabs you. I've done that myself so many times. And yes, I'm a grazer, but I've had my other areas where I've been blinded that I've said, I'm never going to enjoy that. With Game Pass, I found out that I really do enjoy things, right? And outside of it, roguelikes being one of them. I never thought I'd be a roguelike player. I've now figured out that I like rogues. You know, certain ones, not all of them, but certain ones, and I get to try them.
Yeah.
So just check it out. Just check it out because again, the more games we can get in, the better it is for everybody. Everybody wins. So
Facts.
I can't. Oh man, it's a good time.
I think what we'll do is I'll probably go into. Because I definitely want to touch on Tokyo, the whole Tokyo Game Show thing. There's definitely some interesting points in there. If you want to roll into that, I unfortunately hadn't had a whole lot of chance to watch the entire thing, even though I did listen to it. Again, for me, I feel like the important part from what I gathered from it was Phil getting on stage again and letting the world know, honestly, that they're taking the Asian market more seriously.
Yeah.
And that was obviously apparent. The whole thing was a advertisement for cloud gaming, the accessibility, being able to reach a market that they haven't been able to reach before, and a market that's more of a mobile market than they are anything else. I feel like that was the overall ploy for this whole entire thing. No, there wasn't like any amazing announcements or whatever the case might be, but the majority of it was to say, hey, we're releasing this tomorrow, which I can't remember which day that ended up being on. But they released
Friday. I think it was Friday. Thursday they announced. Yeah.
Okay. So Thursday they said, he said that following day that they were going to finally release the whole cloud infrastructure and everything over there. And we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it takes us going into the holiday, man. I think, again, it kind of touches on that whole East to West thing. Microsoft really working on that way to say, hey, we're making games more accessible for everybody. We want people to get attention to your games. We have a service that if you're interested in, you don't have to. Again, that's the other thing too, because people make it act like Microsoft just wants to force you to put it in Game Pass. And it's like, no, they're just like, hey, here's an option if you're interested. That's kind of how they're approaching it. And with that option being there, I feel like the devs in that market may be a little bit more interested in jumping in because there's less of a fear factor there, right? You have a market already established that you don't have to build a base for. You can just say, hey, Xbox, I know you guys are saying that you want to work with us a little bit more. What kind of deal can you cut us so we can get this game on your service for a bit? We want to see what the numbers do. We think we'll sell this much. Can you cut us a deal for this much? If we do more than that, could we come back to the table then? And then I feel like Microsoft would approach that. I feel like Phil would sit down, and I feel like that's why he's been there multiple times over the years, over the last decade more than ever, to have those conversations and say, hey, rebuild relationships that Don Matty broke back in the day and that the old Microsoft have kind of pulled away from, because again, Microsoft is a monopoly type company. That's why people always bring that conversation up. Even though they've really only been known to do it once or twice, that is known. But other than that, you know what I mean? They've been doing well since, but it just shows you the power that Microsoft does potentially have. And overall, the whole Tokyo Game Show just showed me personally that other perspective of what Phil's trying to accomplish behind the scenes. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Again, it wasn't, it wasn't just Japan. It was Brazil, Australia, and Mexico as well. And there's a huge Xbox following in Brazil.
Yeah,
that was a big
that
one.
That too. Yeah.
Australia too. But again, and people think of Tokyo Game Show as just Japan. Look, we got to start really talking about the East as a whole, because there is developers there from South Korea, from China. Again, India is another big spot, but the xCloud is the future. xCloud is what is going to drive the market over there. There is no doubt about that. Console sales in Japan specifically have gone through the roof. Again, that's all relative. Microsoft has done, Xbox has been awful. Okay, in Japan, we could flat out say that. We're talking about under, God, I don't even know, Xbox One. There was it sold like under 10. It was like some ridiculous number, under 100,000 consoles total, something like that. It was an awful number. The Japan market, again, I give Phil all the credit in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He has made this push. They've tried this push in the past. They tried it with the 360. It didn't work out. They didn't really try with the Xbox One. They said they were, but not really. And that was pretty much dead on arrival. Now this generation with the S leading the way, that is what's driving. Again, all you got to do is go to social media, and it's anecdotal when you look at something like this. But if you're just looking at a small slice, if you look at Xbox Twitter, you see so many Japanese accounts showing pictures of their Series S or their Series X that they just purchased. And again, it's all anecdotal. It's all relative. If you're talking about, Xbox, and I'm just throwing out numbers, Xbox sold 100 Xbox Ones, and now they've sold 300 series consoles. Well, yeah, that's a 3 times the amount, but at the end of the day, it's still just in the hundreds, right? And I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm saying that it's all relative, and we don't know for sure the numbers. But if you just look at the engagement on social media from the countries over there, it is astronomically more than we've seen in the past.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's important. I think they are making strides. xCloud is definitely going to lead the way here. This is really, they're into that market. They are offering something that not everybody is.
Right.
They are offering a different way to game. I think back in the day, there was no reason for a Japanese gamer to buy an Xbox. Xbox is now giving them a reason. They tried in the 360 era when they made deals to make games like Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey, etc. They tried, but it wasn't enough. Now Phil is strengthening those relationships with the big time developers over there. Square, whatever you're doing, get out. God, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Anyways, outside of Square, Phil is making these strides with these Japanese game developers. Sarah Bond got up on stage during the Tokyo Game Show and said that they have partnered with over 200 Japanese independent developers to make games for the Xbox. That's huge, because again, as we know, the indie scene is exploding here. It is exploding everywhere. And when we talk about indie devs, it's no longer those cute little 8-bit games all the time. We are not talking about people creating full-fledged experiences like Steel and I were just talking about, because the tools and accessibility is so much greater. And we already know what the ID at Xbox program has done for independent developers. And if they are opening it up over there as well and giving them the same kind of support that they give the rest of the indie development scene, guess what? That is going to open doors for a ton of those Eastern indies to start really grabbing a hold of people. And right now, the indie scene over in Japan is booming as a whole. People are becoming interested in that scene. So that is huge. Then you got somebody like Todd Howard get up on stage. God Howard, praise his name. Amen. He gets up on stage at the Tokyo Game Show to talk about how they are localizing Starfield and Redfall for the Japanese market.
Yeah.
People, gamers, if you have not paid attention to that side of the world, if you're not paid attention to what people say over there, one of the biggest downfalls of Xbox's trials over there has been they have not localized well at all.
Yeah.
There are still complaints out there from many parts of the world that Xbox, compared to their competitors, do not do a good job.
No,
They do not
they don't.
have the support for the localization. Localization, for people who don't understand, is a huge undertaking, a huge undertaking. And it takes a lot of money, right, to do so. It is
Right.
not as simple as throwing it into Google Translate and then throwing the words
No,
up on the
no,
screen.
no, no. That's not how it works.
That's not how localization
No.
works. Okay.
I know
So
people try to say that, but no, that's
right.
no.
That's not what it's about when it comes to games and games development. But anyways, to have somebody like Todd Howard get up on stage, do a video, whatever it was, and to say that one of the biggest games next year, the biggest game in Bethesda's, well, I won't say their history, but let's say in the last 25 years, the biggest game, new IP, brand new IP coming to market, for him to get up there and say, we are localizing 150,000 lines of dialogue, not only just in text, but also we have hired, I think it's 300 actors to do this, total, for all localization.
Insane.
For him to get up there and say that is a huge step in the right direction. This is what is needed. That means that they believe, again, we've been hearing this for a long time, not to get out on a Starfield rant, but we've been hearing that Starfield is something special. Sony wanted to lock it down for at least 2 years. We know that. They were in talks. Starfield is going to be something big, worldwide. They want to make this a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah.
Right. And they want to make sure that it can succeed elsewhere outside of the West. So to go up there on stage and say that you're putting this effort into this, that is a gigantic step towards what is needed to break into that market.
Yeah.
That was a huge deal as well. Love to see it. They need to do more of it. They need to, don't know who's running the division on that side of the world. I don't know those facts. And that's kind of sad because we know everybody else in Xbox, but I'd like to know who local they have over in the East to promote their brands. We just saw Sony, and we brought this up last week, I think, briefly. Sony just hired Capcom's former CEO that handled the division over in Japan. He also handled European division as well, but they hired the former Capcom head. Mm-hmm. Those are the move that I'd like to see Xbox make. Get somebody from that area, somebody big who knows everything over there. Sony's got Yoshida as well. To be able to handle that side, because I think it's important, because they're, as much as we've grown closer together as a world, as much as we, now communicate worldwide because of the internet, because of social media, the world has gotten a lot smaller, but at the same time, there are still huge cultural differences. Like Steel was talking about with anime, there are still huge cultural differences. Yeah. And if you don't understand those differences, you're going to have a hard time connecting with people. So as much as we like to think that we're growing together as humanity, there's still a lot of different things you have to consider when you're talking about a product launch worldwide, when you're talking about creating content for a specific part of the world that goes outside of the norm, right? And so you got to have somebody in charge. Again, I don't know who it is. Maybe they have somebody great there that I'm just not aware of, but I'd like to see more movement in that area. But again, the localization thing is huge. Great move on Xbox's part. Glad to see Todd Howard up there. Of course, whenever that beautiful man gets up on stage, I gotta love it. So,
yeah.
Starfield can't come soon enough for me. But no, the Tokyo Game Show overall, even though there was no big, wow moments as far as like a studio acquisition.
That's not what it was for.
A big game. That's not what it's for. But just the overall feel that Xbox got. I mean, as soon as the Tokyo Game Show started after Xbox's presentation,
you got some love.
Yeah, the Series S was #1 on Amazon in Japan. Okay, so that goes to show you that it does impact. Again, it's all relative. I'm not saying that it's selling millions. Okay, I'm just saying that it's all relative, but it's still a positive step, and that's what you need. You got to you can't get to the top of the mountain all in one time. I don't know if Xbox will ever be able to be king over there in any shape or form with Nintendo and Sony over there. But at the end of the day, you can't climb that mountain without taking those first steps. You got to put one foot in front of the other. And that's what they're doing right now. And they're doing the right things. The xCloud is going to be a huge thing. But the Tokyo Game Show overall was a win for Xbox. Announcing, like Steel was talking about, Scarlet Nexus coming into Game Pass, along with like Astria Ascending, which I talked about in the beginning. those types of Eastern games, those JRPGs, those anime style games are so important. That's a huge deal. We even got Chunsoft, which does not release games on Xbox. They're one of those old holdouts that doesn't. They are coming out with the Samanon files too. AI, the Samanon files.
Okay.
Steel, look, I popped this in too. I didn't mention it. I totally forgot I had popped it in.
Okay.
It's a narrative-driven game, investigation.
Okay.
Wild, wacky, total Eastern style game, right? Like story, like crazy, right? Just crazy stuff. Really cool investigation. You're kind of a detective, working some weird cases. You got to figure it out. Blah blah blah. Again, narrative driven gameplay, so it's not for everybody. It's not your classic style game at all. But to see that Spike Chunsoft, who does not put their games on Xbox, they're coming out with number 2. They dropped AI, the Samanon Files number 1 into Game Pass. They agree to do that to introduce a whole new audience to their games. That's the kind of breakthroughs that we need. That's small wins like that you have to look at that come out of like a Tokyo Game Show, that really say, okay, they are making some progress. And like I said in the beginning of this, Phil came out and confirmed, I'm working every single day to bring more of this content over.
Yep.
I believe him. I believe he's putting in the work nonstop to make this happen. Again, they are on a different playing field. They are looking at the world. Their competitors do too, but Microsoft is aiming for something that the others just right now don't seem to be aiming for. Nintendo is happy where they're at. Sony might be thinking about that down the road, but right now they don't have the road. They don't have anything laid out right now to be able to allow them to get there. Xbox is ahead of the curve. They are thinking really, truly, honestly about 2 to 3 billion people getting in their service. So they are just on a different playing field right now, and you can see it by some of these smaller moves. It doesn't always have to be the ZeniMax. It doesn't always have to be that earth-shaking move. It's just little stuff behind the scenes that's happening, that they're breaking through at different points, punching holes in the dam. We're seeing more and more water flood through in the form of content, and I think we're just going to see more and more of that going forward. So the Tokyo Game Show for me was a win. Again, I wasn't expecting a world-shaking event. We didn't get one, but we did get a lot of cool announcements and different ideas coming out of it. And Game Pass again got dropped some more great content. So that's what matters. So
I mean 100%. And I feel like all those were definitely good points. Especially for that. Again, seeing the overall vision, I feel like is the bigger picture. We're definitely proponents of the bigger picture. Again, I guess that's our whole point here. So with that, starting to get it about, we're about 2.5 hours in. So I think we're thinking about that time to wrap up. We definitely want to get some stuff to eat in. By the way, if y'all aren't familiar, the Halo Infinite Flight test is up.
Let's talk about it.
It definitely is up. Big Team Battle is up, along with regular Arena Slayer. If you're into that, and it's been a fun time, man. Again, Big Team Battle, like I said in the beginning, has done something that I explained to my brother that I thought they were going to have a hard time with. And that's because I've never been a huge proponent of Big Team Battle, right? I've always been like, it's cool, it's fun. I gotta get in here, have a good time, slap some people around for a bit, maybe, or get shot up a lot by vehicles or whatever the case, and then go from there. But with this, it seems to be balanced. The only thing that I am missing is that I do feel like it should be at least some more aerial combat going on. Maybe that's what's missing. I also brought up the option that I feel like the mode could probably handle 6 more people, three more people on each side, like a 15 on 15. I feel like that would make it a little more adventurous. Or if they want to stick with what they're currently doing with the whole 4-man teams kind of thing, so you'd go up to what would that make it, 21 on 21?
Yep.
At that point, I think that would be an interesting way to take it. Also, it just feels like there is something missing. I don't know.
20 on 20.
Or 20. Sorry, can't do it if I can do the math. Yeah. Sorry, 20 on 20. Sorry, I'm fucking dead. and I gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh Jesus!
I'm over here turtlenecking it. Nah, I'm playing. But no. But yeah, I think if it was a 20 on 20, I think it would feel a little bit better, just because of it does feel empty at times. Like there's some time when I'm running through it, and it could just be that the vehicle spawns feel a little off. I feel like I should be able to hop into a vehicle more often than not, even if it's just a mongoose or something, to get to where I need to go, because sometimes you spawn a good amount of distance away from the objective and you can't really fight back at that point. Again, it could just be getting used to the mode and everything. I know my brother, when I was playing with him, he was saying the same kind of thing. I also have some feelings about the current status of the battle rifle and everything, how it feels. I feel like it takes a shot too long to kill somebody. Either that or it doesn't shoot it fast enough. It's one of the two. It's either it doesn't shoot fast enough or it takes one shot too many to kill somebody. Whereas when the flight first came out, it felt perfect. Now it feels a little off, especially as a pickup weapon. Other than that, it's their 343 is doing everything in this Halo that I need them to do. This multiplayer has got me so excited. I was having this conversation with my brother in the back, and Jago said math is hard. No, math is hard just before you had your second cup of coffee. But I was having this conversation with my brother, and it kind of came to the conclusion that the way that I feel about this multiplayer is getting me that much more excited for the single player. Because if the multiplayer is looking like this, as it looks really put together, man. Like the textures are on point. The overall game feels on point. The frame pacing is on. Again, I'm playing on PC using a 2070 Super. I also have a 3070, 3700X Ryzen CPU. So maybe that has some effects in it also. It plays really well, man. Pong, what do you think? How are you feeling about this, man? As the casual Halo man, how are you feeling about this?
Yeah. No, big team battle is what I'm all about. So this is awesome. Again, Battlefield lover, so I love the bigger maps. I love the vehicles. I think the vehicle drops could be set up differently.
Okay.
It's an escalation process, I think, where they drop the more powerful vehicles as the match goes on, right? So, and I've seen a lot of other people have concerns about that as well, because it seems like the big vehicles drop and then the match is over.
Right.
Like, I think they could speed that up a little
bit. Drop it halfway or something, like I don't know.
Right, exactly. So I think that is something to look at. But again, what was the name of this map? Do you remember still?
This map, I'm not good with map names and everything like that. So no, I'm not gonna be able to say map. I totally forgot what the name of it.
Anyways, every map that they've dropped so far has been
iconic. Perfect. It feels good.
It feels like we're back in Halo 3 days, right? Where every map you play pretty much feels just fantastically set up. I think that the maps are well balanced. I love the aspect of big team battle, though, when it comes to just the vehicle play, the chaos that happens. Dude, I saw the crazy again. This is the best part about this. And again, casual Halo fan, but I love when I see the hardcore fan base and even the casuals like me light up whenever they first start playing a game. And Fun said it best last night. Mav, shout out to Mav. He said it best last night on Xbox Ultimate. He said, no, there's no complaining going on. There's just people having fun. And that's about the best testament you can have. There's not people pointing out, there's people out there, talking about some concerns or whatever else, but it's not from the standpoint, this is trash. You guys need to change this. It's my God, look at this play I just made. And by the way, could you guys maybe do this? Right. It's always something positive first. And I saw the craziest videos. I saw a video last night of somebody getting carried by the, what's the big ship? The big one you can use.
You're talking about the Pelican, the Hornet,
not the
Wasp?
The Hornet. Yeah, Wasp. One of those two. They picked up their flag. The guy was carrying the flag carrier. They were waiting for him outside. He jumped on top of it and they flew him back to the other base. Dude, I was like, yo, this looks fantastic. Okay, so just stuff like that. The only in Halo moments, much like the only in Battlefield moments, only in Halo moments are back. The sandbox of this game is being shown off to the nth degree. This takes you back. I know a lot of people are saying the movement, and I agree, the movement is a lot of Halo 5, right? The movement is that really you feel fast, you feel good, fluid, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But the rest of it is classic Halo. It's Halo Reaches. It's the Halo 3s where those moments that you could only get in Halo, people using the brand new physics, right?
Right.
With the repulsor. Dude, that repulsor
That thing
is so
is
much
mean.
fun.
That thing is
Dude,
mean.
Dude, you could have so much fun with that thing. Look, and unplanned. I came around a corner last night, real quick. I came around a corner last night. Dude shooting at me. 3-bit. Shout out to VGHD. I3-bit now is what he goes by. I3-bit. 3-bit was coming around the other side behind the guy. He was ready to start laying into the guy. I didn't see 3-bit until after the fact, but I repulsed the guy. The guy flew backwards. 3-bit was quick enough to melee him in midair. So just something simple like that, where I repulsed the guy into 3-bit. 3-bit melees him from behind. He's dead. It was classic, dude. That's kind of stuff just gets me so excited. I was having so much fun with you guys last night. Again, casual Halo fan, I'm not going to put the thousands of hours in that some of you guys are going to in this. But at the end of the day, is this a game that I'm looking forward to hopping in, especially, and I'm looking forward to single player too. I want to play single player. I want to see what the campaign's like, but just from a multi-player aspect, is this a game I could just hop into? Even if I've got, even if I got a quick 30 minutes, I can hop into, get a couple rounds in, and know I'm going to be smiling at the end of it, even when I get mad because I'm not good and I get blown up by the sweaties. It doesn't matter to me. I know I'm going to find something cool about each match to think about that happened, right? No matter what it is. And that's the cool part. Like Steel was getting lit up. Steel was fighting this guy. He was battling this guy. I came around the bend out of nowhere in a warthog, and Steel sitting there. Also, I just splattered this.
Yeah,
dude.
that threw me off. That had me dying. I was fighting this dude. We're fighting. And I was like, oh man, I think I'm gonna kill him. And then Pong just comes out of nowhere. Splat. I was like, oh, where did the car come from?
That was amazing,
yeah, it was amazing. I love it. I love
so much
moments.
fun. This game is totally a sandbox. That's the aspect that I love about it. I'm glad they brought it back. I can't really. This makes me even look more forward to when they get Forge out to see what the community does, because between the grapple shot, the repulsor, there's going to be some crazy game modes going on. There's going to be some insane game modes, and I can't wait to see them. But yeah, no, absolute blast. Can't wait to hop in more today. If you're free, definitely be in there. You know that. And 12 on 12 allows for a lot of friends to get together, which is fantastic.
That is a fact.
I do agree with you, Steel. I think eventually they will up the player count. I think that's probably the plans in the future is to up the player count by a little bit. I definitely could see, something, 16 on 16, 20 on 20.
Yeah.
Something
16
like
on
that.
16. 16 on 16. That's what I wanted to earlier, not 20 on 20. Sorry.
16
on 16, I think would be perfect.
Absolutely. So I definitely think that's in the road. Happy to see the servers, seem to be running really well. Really haven't had any major issues. We had one crash last night at one point. And I think that was it. But no, I haven't seen, I know some people were having a couple issues with some stuttering and that kind of stuff. That's stuff that can be cleaned up. But overall, like we were talking about behind the scenes deal, if they launch that today, if they just drop the multiplayer today,
I'm good.
It's better than 90% of the multiplayers that come out now. So just as is right now. So they've still got another almost 2 months of polishing to do here. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's an exciting time for sure.
Yeah, bro. It just kind of leads credence to the main takeaway for this from me. It just leads credence to them using bots and saying that, oh, we're testing the servers. And I know because a lot of people are making jokes about that. Oh, you're stress testing turbo with bots. Oh, but that had to have made sense or had to have made some kind of an impact, because there's no way that there's 24 players on a dedicated server and it's playing as smoothly as it is. I'm talking about, I have absolutely no hitches. Again, I don't like to undermine anybody else's issues. I didn't have any issues this entire time except for the first flight. I had issues on PC where it was just like, even today, I think I might hop on console and play for a bit just to get that other perspective of it. Hop on the series console, get some, so we can play some more console players instead of playing with sweaties all the time. Just to give us a better feel. I think that'd be nice, because that's another thing that we also have to fight whole thing with the PC and console players, it's still not. You can tell that it's still off. The other thing is I am kind of concerned about them doing input-based matchmaking. I hope that it is something they do definitely consider and actually implement in, just because I feel like it's important. Because me as a PC player, even as a PC player, if I'm using a controller, I don't want to put people at a disadvantage who are playing at console who don't like playing against PC players, because there is an advantage, right? Especially if you're using mouse and keyboard, there is an advantage. Now, can you notice it in certain situations? No, but the game also hasn't nailed it down enough with the aim assist for it to be beneficial enough to just leave it open. So that's my only thing. And somebody else brought up a good point where they were like, hopefully they address any of the cheating or whatever the case. I haven't noticed any cheating. From what I can tell, again, hopefully they do have something in place that's going to avoid a lot of those issues. Them having a dedicated server is going to help out a lot with that. Again, can avoid a lot of those issues.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that, knowing that they are for sure, because the game will straight up tell you before you load in, hey, dedicated server failed, we can't load you in. Which gives me a good feeling, because that's one of the things that turned me off about Gears, is that don't tell me I have dedicated servers and then the servers aren't dedicated servers. It's still ping based. Like, or it's still based off of whoever has the best connection. I can still tell whether my shots are hitting or not. Like, no, don't, like, come on. Like, something's off, and it's the server more than likely. You're letting people who have 200 plus ping come in here and bounce all over the place and have shots that are a second or two delayed. Like, no, this doesn't have any of those, which is an amazing thing. With that being said, I know people are like, oh, if we wouldn't have complained, they wouldn't have fixed it. Again, every build that we have played thus far, I'm pretty sure is still at least a month or two behind. So they're giving us updated builds based off of what they feel comfortable with. That's why they also say, hey, we also have a patch note list. We still are aware of multiple issues that are going on. There is a whole list for that you can check out through the waypoint and everything. So that's another thing to consider. With that being said, Pong, unless there's something else that you want to get into, I do want to get into our upcoming game segment, not upcoming game, sorry, this day in gaming segment, just because Halo is dropping within the next 20. I know a lot of people are going to end up flooding into there, next 15 or so. I also want to give myself a little bathroom break and get something to eat before we get locked in. So, because I may not be able to end up playing later if the wife ends up coming home later from surgery and whatnot. So we'll see. But I definitely want to go in and jump into that. If you're ready, is there anything else that you want to wrap up on as far as?
Oh, no, man, we have plenty of stuff we could talk about, but no, let's get going. We can get out of here. Get you a bathroom break, because can't believe you don't have a bottle down there yet. No, I don't need a bottle, man. That's it's insane. And hey, I can't believe that we're almost at 3 hours again. There we go.
I
know, brother. I know, brother.
And we started
covered like two topics.
I don't know what we're going to talk about. Yeah, look at us.
Free balling.
Free,
we did a great job.
Free balling. I like
definitely
it.
Got sweaty.
We did. Stupid. That's funny as hell. But with that being said, again, if you guys are still locked into the Living Split Screen morning show, man, we greatly appreciate y'all being here, especially to the ones that show up on a week by week basis. Definitely looks like we got some new names in here too. So shout out to y'all. Much love for tuning in. With that being said, we do go live every 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time on a Saturday. So if you haven't hit that bell yet, please hit that so you'll be notified when we do go live. And again, we do upload to audio platforms shortly after we go live. Typically I like to do it an hour after. Today that's probably not going to be the case because of Halo. Blame Halo if you want. So it'll probably be this evening at some point. But with that being said, we're going to get into this day in gaming segment, because gaming is art and should be treated as such. And like we said, not only in the beginning, in the middle, but now in the end, you got to look back at your history, man. See where you came from. and look at where you're at today, especially with a game like Halo Infinite, man.
And make me feel old at the same time.
And make Pong feel old. I think that's what he takes out of this whole adventure, is that we're just making him feel old. With that said, let's get into it. All right, so this day in gaming on October 2nd, starting off in 1997. Man, we got PlayStation starting off with Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Excellent game.
Why did you act like 1997 was so long ago?
Because it was a while ago. It's been a minute ago.
I had been graduated for 4 years. 97
was a while ago.
I was an adult. I was drinking.
You were. I mean, you were getting lit. You were definitely getting lit. I'm not gonna lie. Then we move forward into it was Castlevania's a excellent game. Yeah. I think that's another one that they need to bring to current day. So
we didn't even talk about that. Konami's making moves. So
yeah, and they are.
Yeah.
Then we move into 2002, a PlayStation 2 release, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. One of the best Need for Speed games to existence.
Best ones out there.
Hey, to be honest with you, Pong.
Yeah.
That's what that Hot Wheels game kind of reminds me of.
Now you're talking.
No police, but that's how it drives. Like the drifting and everything.
Yeah. Those are my favorite times.
Oh, God.
Some of the best arcade drifting on
history. My God. That's how the game feels.
Yeah.
But up to date. It feels amazing.
All right.
2007, PlayStation 2 release Spider-Man Friend or Foe. And it also released on the PSP. That was actually a decent little Spider-Man game.
It wasn't bad.
The newer one is definitely 10 times better, but
for sure.
That goes without saying. 2008, PlayStation 2 released Dynasty Warriors 6 in Japan. Good game. Dynasty Warriors was always a good one for me. It was like a guilty pleasure. Go around mobbing, killing the mobs and going all over the top on them. Then in 2009, PC released Risen, depending on how you want to say that. Didn't play that game. 2012, PlayStation 3, PSP, and the Xbox 360 released NBA 2K13. 2K.
2K.
Then
same as 2K12.
Same as every year. Then in that same year, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 released Resident Evil 6. Actually, wasn't a bad game. I actually enjoyed that. I'm not gonna lie. It was all right. Resident Evil's kind of whatever to me. PlayStation 3 got Sonic Adventure 2, one of the
excellent
best Sonic games to me.
Awesome.
Still one that I feel like they need to remaster soon.
Yes.
Or just completely redo it.
So great. So great.
Specifically Battle version. Yeah, no, that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite games of all time. But I'm also a Sonic fan, so. With that being said, in 2014, PlayStation 3 released Kingdom Hearts HD 2.5 Remix in Japan. Not a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. I tried to jump into the older games through emulation some years back, and I couldn't get into them, man. I don't know. They were all right, and then I tried to play the newer one, and it was all right. I don't know. I've never been able to get into Kingdom Hearts.
Kind of like the story. I'm afraid to say that.
It's all right.
I know it's kind of, it is.
All right.
What
would they do?
I haven't played a lot of them, but when I did jump into them, I actually kind of like the story.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like those anime over the top stories anyway. It's just like this. You have this guy that you're chasing and figure out the story, and all of a sudden you lost your memories, and now you're trying to get your memories back, and you've been reincarnated 10 different times. Anyway, but it's a good. It does have some. I do get some fun out of that. 2017, PlayStation 4 released. Actually, let me go back. 2014, PlayStation 4 also released Omega Quintet in Japan. Not familiar with that game, but all right. Then in 2017, PlayStation 4 released The Hunter, Call of the Wild. It also released on Xbox One. Not familiar with that game. Also, not really. I'm not really a Hunter fan though either.
Game. They're kind of fun. They're kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
I'd rather go shoot stuff in real life though.
To drop in, if we didn't have as many games as we do now, I'd still.
That would
drop
probably
in
be
one
different.
Or two every once in a while. Go hunt down something. It is kind of fun.
Then in 2018, this is one of those games that is pretty high on a lot of people's list actually, as far as like Assassin's Creed goes. PC, PlayStation 4, and the Xbox One all released the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. A lot of people thoroughly enjoyed that game. I felt like Origins was personally better. But that's because I'm more so biased for that Egyptian mythology and everything.
I didn't play Origins yet, so
Origins was really good. They did really well. I'm
surprised I haven't, because I am a big Egypt guy too, and it's like really shocking. Like I've looked at it on sale.
If you could play it at 60 FPS, I think it's good that you skipped it, because back then it would have been 30. I think at 60, it's definitely something worth going back to. I think you would enjoy it, at least for especially since all the DLC is out for it. I think for the overall environment, I think you would enjoy it. Then it placed same year, 2018, PlayStation 4 released Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise. It actually was it was not an anime, Fist of the North Star.
Yes, it was.
Actually, a good anime. Actually,
old school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nintendo Switch released Mega Man 11, another classic. I grew up with Mega Man. The animation, the show back in the day was awesome. And I love the Mega Man games back in the day. It was kind of like Sonic. It was like Sonic and then Mega Man for me, I think. And then Nintendo Switch also released, and PlayStation 4 also released, Valkyrian Arc, Hero School Story. Not familiar with that, but okay.
Nope. Got nothing.
Then in 2020, PlayStation 4 released, it's the first Crash that I haven't played. And it's Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time.
Not a Crash fan.
I've kind of been on the fence about playing this game. Again, I guess this kind of falls into, if we didn't have so many games to play, maybe it would be a little bit different, where I would end up playing through it. But it's like, well, I don't think I'll get to it, man. Like I want it just to have it, but at the same time, because I am a Crash fan. I mean, I grew up with Crash. Crash is like
I get it.
Was it an initial part of my essential part of my childhood, right? A Crash Bandicoot, the first game, was the first game I ever took back to EB Games. That like, I remember, because I beat the game like 3 times, and I was like, I want a new game, and I did it within like a week. And they had that policy where you could return the game within a week. And I returned the game.
Took advantage. Was Little Steel playing on hardcore difficulty back then? Or was Little Steel not doing that?
Did Crash have difficulties back then?
I don't know. I don't remember, honestly.
I felt like the game back then was just hard. Like the game.
But the game itself was hard. So
I loved the game back then.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I thoroughly I beat the game 3 times within that week and took it back. I can't remember if the game had difficulties. I played it how it was out of the box. I don't recall it having difficulties. I don't remember, but the game wasn't easy back in the day either, though. I feel like there wasn't. I don't know. Anyway, either way, that's something to look. I would look into. I kind of feel like I want to pull that up on emulation just to check.
Just to check out. Yeah, exactly.
Then in 2020, PlayStation 4 released Star Wars Squadrons, another game that I'm low-key interested in.
I gotta go back to it
because I like
really
flight in games. I really do, but for some reason, I feel like maybe it's just because I'm missing the joystick. Because that's what I used to do in Battlefield all the time, is that I would swap over from I had the keyboard here, then I have the joystick up here. So it's just like, as soon as I hop in the jet, keyboard, joystick time. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So maybe that's what I'm missing, because doing it with a controller.
It's a great game. The single player is a great story. It's really good. I gotta go back to it.
If I get some time, I definitely want to check it out. Again, man, there's so many goddamn games to play. So I don't know when I jump into it. And by the time I think about it, I don't know. I don't think I'll get a chance to try it. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But with that being said, that was your This Day in Gaming segment, and this is your Living Split Screen Morning Show. We're at the end of it. Halo Infinite Tech Test, Flight Test, whatever you want to call it, goes live within the next 10 minutes. Again, like we said last week, man, we got big team battle this week. If there's anybody in the chat that wants to group up, hit me and Pong up, man. We'll see about you getting you into, excuse me, because I can't talk today.
Getting
I talk
in
to people.
You?
Yeah,
Pause.
Getting in you, knee deep. But no,
free balling.
Free balling. It's like that song Free Falling, but free balling.
Yeah, right. I got you. Don't worry, I caught it.
I was hoping somebody caught it. But anybody in the chat, man, if y'all into Halo, if y'all talking about jumping into the flight, let us know, man. I mean, we got plenty of room. I haven't jumped into a party yet where we didn't have at least 4 to 6 extra spaces in there for people to jump in. I definitely would love to have 12 people grouped up, going against random people, in big team battle. I think that would be amazing. Us just talking mad shit and just get into it, man. I think big team battle this time around with as many people as we can have, and taking it from 8v8 to 12v12, if I'm not mistaken, that's what that it was before. Taking it from 8v8 to 12v12 is an amazing feat, and I want more people to try out, because it's me and 3-Bit would have this conversation, because me, 3-Bit, Psycho, we were playing big team battle for a minute, and then we jumped into some arena, and we felt godly. We felt like big team battle was the new training mode for us. You know what I mean? So it's like we've been having a really good time with it, man, and hopefully y'all have too. We'll definitely catch y'all.
And you get to hear me be the salty sea captain that you don't hear on the show all the time.
And you get to hear Pong cuss like there's no other tomorrow. You would think totally that Pong. You would think that Pong is standing up, yelling at his TV, but he's just sitting there, just talking shit. Yeah. He's just talking shit to the game. That's it. But yeah, man, we're having a good time, man. With that being said, you can find me everywhere. I still reign. Everywhere. The T is a 7. Been kind of behind on putting everything up this week. I am going to update everything, if not tonight, tomorrow, as far as like the thumbnails and everything else. It's just been kind of a hectic week for me. The wife went in and got surgery this week, major brain surgery. I actually had to get half her hair cut off, so she's feeling quite some way about that.
That's in style now, though. You can just tell her that,
it is, but you know, because of everything, it's been making her feel some kind of way, and the hair growth has kind of been stunted because of the meds and everything that she's been having to take up to this point. And now she's gonna have a gash on her head, but most important part was her getting the surgery done, and that went smooth. So everything went through without a hitch. That was the most important part. Now everything is just recovery and just making sure that she doesn't be too hard-headed. But with that being said, much love to y'all. We're getting into 3 hours in here. Catch me on Twitter, of course on Xbox, PC, PlayStation at some point when they give me a reason to finally invest, i.e. Spider-Man 2, or whenever they decided to finally put out factions. I'll definitely be in there at that point. Other than that, hit me up in the DMs, and we'll go from there, man. Always about a good conversation. Like Pong says, play what you love what you play. And like I say, keep it live, raw, and uncut. And that's the only place where you can find it in an authentic, uncut, and organic nature. So Pong, let them know about yourself, man. Where you at? Let them know about that podcast extraordinaire that you are, man.
Yeah. God, man, I can't believe we did it. Episode 27 in the books. Living Split Screen, Saturday, October 2nd. My God, man, absolutely love you all. Chat, you guys are amazing. Everybody who watches us now, live or afterwards, love you all. You guys are just the best ever, man. We are building something special here. Again, continue to get the word out whenever you can. If you feel it, then let everybody else know that you're feeling it, so that we can continue to grow this. Steel and I just have such a good time here.
Me too.
But man, again, this was crazy. This felt like an hour. So legit, I could go longer. I know Steel's got to go to the bathroom. So Pong Soul everywhere, Xbox, Twitter, hit me up there. You know the drill. Otherwise, tonight, the Shop Podcast, PTK, Blam, Centurion, Fuzzy, Belvedere, and I believe tonight's guest is the one and only K. Asante, another great podcaster. Go check him and Everborn out. Actually, they go almost the same time we do on Saturdays now, but they got a couple shows. Great podcaster, great dude. Love talking with that guy. So come by the Shop Podcast tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Tuesdays, Xbox Factor Podcast over on Double Barrel Gaming. Mr. Boomstick, of course, you know him. Yeah, great member of the community.
Love him.
Look, he just leveled up. He just made some acquisitions for our Xbox Factor Podcast on Tuesdays. This is a ridiculous panel over there on Tuesdays. So we've got Mr. Boomstick. We got Zemi Games. We got myself. Then we've also now got Archimedes. We got 3-Bit coming back. We got Mav basically full time now on the Xbox Factor Podcast. Yeah. Dude, talking about a great show, man. Steel has shown up and guested on that. Steel on his days off sometimes can show up on there as well. You never know who's going to be there, but man, what a great show. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time, Xbox Factor Podcast. Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate, Fun Speculations channel, Mav. Go check him out if you haven't already. Again, he's putting up so many shows. He's always streaming. Dude's on point. Another brother from another. This is my extended family over there, as all my podcasts are. Right. But man, go check them out. Xbox Ultimate. We will be there 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. His amazing wife Caitlin and the rest of the Magnificent Seven. We just had Dealer on last night along with Kea Sante. So if you missed that show, go check it out. A lot of things were dropped that night. We just had a great time. A lot of laughs. Crazy stuff. And then we'll see you back here next week. Episode 28, Living Split Screen. Let's go. This is amazing. This is incredible, man. This is like the best time of my life. I can't believe it. So love you all. Get out there. It's the golden age of gaming. Play what you love what you play. Expand that mindset, people. Expand that mindset. Even if you're just a gamer, expand it. If you're here, it's like because you like talking about games and like hearing about the industry. Expand it out. The big things are happening. The industry is changing. Steel and I will be here each and every week to talk about it. Thanks. Love you all. Talk to you soon.
Hey, much love, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all stay easy, stay blessed. May the gods walk with y'all. And other than that, let's catch y'all next week. Peace.